Bonjour, nous sommes ravis de votre patience. Bienvenue dans cette nouvelle version améliorée de l'émission. Welcome to the flat. Footy from the flat is starting. Footy from the flat is starting. Footy from the flat is starting. The footy is starting.
Are we on? Oh, we're on. We got audio. Jesse, welcome to the show. We just got a little bit of a muted audio there. The audience let us know, mate. You went away for the weekend. We forgot to tell our audience.
We were just explaining that with no audio.
If
you can let us know in the chat if we're coming through now. People are saying we're good now. Yes,
we're good.
I was just explaining that. Yes, it was a long weekend. I was away at a festival on Saturday and Sunday and did a sloppy job of telling you guys that the audience, that is, not you.
You told me. Yeah, I knew.
Telling the audience that we would be streaming on Tuesday. So forgive me for that. It was probably worth a bit of an Instagram post. We did mention it in the live show. But my bad on that one. But we're back and we're here to unpack the opening round. We're here to talk about some general footy stories and a little teasing look at round one.
Ugh.
Yeah. A light grazing of the round one.
I like that. I had a good time. I thought it was a great opening round of games. I think we learnt a lot from the matches. So I'm keen to get into it with you. I actually did a bit of gallivanting myself. Went to the Formula One across the weekend, the Oz GP. That was really, really fun. I must say though, I had a good time, but when you go to the Grand Prix, it is really as you expect it to be, as in you get like a split second of cars just going like, vroom, and that's it. You just get one little piece of track.
My first ever job was working at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in 2012, I reckon, at 18 years old, and I was an usher. Sorry, I just had to make that joke, as I do every time I tell that story. But
I've heard that one before.
Yeah, but earplugs, 15-hour days, showing people where to sit.
Yeah.
The viewing experience wasn't incredible, but when you're there working and you don't sit down for 15 hours, it probably wasn't as fun as your weekend.
Yeah. Let's just go with that. All right. So the first thing I did want to ask you about was whether you caught Gold Coast's performance, because you got to play them, and I think that's funny.
The less said about how good they are right now, the better, I reckon. I think we're all expecting Gold Coast to be impressive this year, but you take out Matt Rowell and they dominate the runners-up from last year. It's a little bit more ominous than I was hoping as a fan of a team who has to play them in round one, but. Huge statement, I would have thought.
I think it was a terrifying performance from them. We're going to get into that. We are
Petrarca in particular.
Petrarca, Humphrey,
Lombard.
That was absolutely crazy. We've got the chat up here, so we'll get into a couple of comments, see what people are saying. People are saying that they can't hear shit, which is from the beginning.
We think that makes better content, frankly.
That was structural. Something that we did in the background there. Andrew Gasperis says, how good did Sydney look in the second half?
Yeah, that was the game we live streamed here with Tom Mitchell as a surprise guest. That was a lot of fun as well. Broke down how Sydney broke them down, but 12 goals in a quarter. After also going goalless in the opening term. I think that's only the third time in history that's happened, Dylan.
So wait, what was the combination of things?
12 goals in a quarter, but also goalless in another quarter.
Okay.
It's only happened, I think, twice in history.
That's a weird combination of things, isn't it? I think it's so Carlton for that to have happened, to keep a team goalless.
Yeah.
But not I don't want to get too far into the game because we're going to break it down separately, but it was very Carlton through and through. And they've had a little bit of stuff going on in the week as well. I don't know if you caught any of that.
Constantly got stuff on as a footy club, but I know what you're referring to.
What am I referring to?
The Dan Gorringe comments. Well, not comments, but the decision he made to air Sam Doherty's comments. And then Jared Waitley got stuck into him.
Yes.
It's just all good soap opera quality TV.
So if you're not across that fully, basically, so Dan and Sam Doherty are pretty good mates.
Yeah.
He reached out to get a bit of feedback on what he thought about Carlton. He said, like, you've been in the inner sanctum rather recently, like what goes on? So Doherty sends him a voice message, basically like his opinion on it, which was kind of like an expletive written message. And it was very much like something that you would send to a mate. And then Dan posted it on the show, or like basically played it out on the show. And I feel like old media here, this was like an old media meets new media thing, and they just went to town on it. It was like that journalistic integrity piece where it's like, if somebody doesn't say that you can play something, you can't do it. And I got vibes in this of the Jared Waitleys, the Matty Lloyds, the Carrows, the John Ralphs, who pretty much went to town on it. Like, it's like that situation where you've got like a really popular person at school who's sitting, on top of the mound, and they're about to get something taken away from them by someone, and they want to defend themselves. It was kind of like, Mean Girls, like the new popular girl comes to school and everybody likes them, and they saw that as their opportunity to go after him. Yeah,
that's true. I must admit though, I had the same first reaction to it, which was maybe not as venomous as what, like saying it was absolutely disgusting. But when I saw Dan Gorringe do that,
that was actually verbatim.
Yeah,
disgusting.
Exactly. Yeah, see, that's a bit OTT. But I did have the first reaction of like, I'm surprised he's airing that. It must be with permission. But evidently it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Because Doherty then clarified later. Yes. It was not. So that was my first reaction, although I do think the venom with which it was spoken about was a little bit over the top.
Yeah.
Like, why was Jared Waitley so offended by it?
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely poor form by Dan to actually air it in the first place, particularly that they're friends. I think that was a poor piece of form. But then it was like, if somebody if just a regular person was saying that, but it was the guys that I feel like, Dan's kind of coming after them, like disrupting the mainstream media. And then for them to kind of go after him, it was very much like, well, we know why you're doing this as well.
That's true. And whether or not that was Waitley's intention, like shit, they would have gotten some good engagement.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if, someone like a Jared Waitley is playing the game of engagement, clicks, what would make a good shot. I don't know. I don't think he necessarily thinks like that.
I don't think he's playing the game. No. I just think that he doesn't like content. He sees it as
like content.
Well, no, like he doesn't like the content creator world.
Sure.
So he sees it as like he's done the work and put in the hours and the time to get to where he is, and he sees somebody in a social media landscape and I think those kind of people would feel like it's unfair that you can just make content so easily today and get it online. And I reckon he would feel threatened by that.
You're probably right. Yeah, I thought Doherty's comments afterwards, he says, I wasn't thinking it was going out verbatim, but that's okay. It was interesting because he clearly acknowledged I didn't mean for that to be aired. And honestly, if it was me, I would be pissed. But he seemed, I don't know if he was just putting up a public front of not going after Dan. Maybe it was that.
I would suggest so. I mean, I think they're pretty good friends.
Yeah.
From my knowledge,
he might have had a crack at him behind.
Oh, I reckon. I reckon there were words like don't do that again for sure. But I don't think it was like friendship ending.
No, that's right. So he seemed to go into bat for his mate as well, which I suppose is nice.
The interesting fallout from this at the end of it all is that Doherty has now been banned from Carlton appearances or functions or whatever that might be until round 6, which is the Peter Mack game.
Okay, wow. I did know that he was withdrawn from the was it season?
Yes.
Wasn't a season launch? Was it a season launch? They had
some sort of specific event.
Yes.
For round 1.
Exactly. Yeah,
which
that's
is
right.
before the Thursday night game against Richmond. So he's been basically withdrawn from that in an official capacity.
Wow. Yeah, they're clearly pissed. It is ugly timing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because when was that function? A few days after that happened?
Yes.
And without knowing exactly, it must have only been.
Yes.
It would be incredibly awkward for Doherty to be there. And I think he was presenting. He was doing a speech or something like that.
I think so.
Yeah, that would be incredibly awkward.
He was definitely there in like an official capacity.
Yeah, that's right.
And he is. I mean, he's an ex-player. He's captained the club. It's a weird space. Like, I don't actually know how to articulate and how I feel about the entire thing and who's in the right, who's in the wrong. I do feel like it's unfortunate for Doherty in that he's clearly just sent that as a message. It's very casual.
Yeah.
And he obviously doesn't think it's going to come out like that. And some media people have actually spoken about, he was on 3AW, I think, commentating the actual game with some other people. And he said the same things, not in the same way.
Yeah.
And it wasn't taken anywhere nearly as badly.
Absolutely. And it wasn't intended to go public, right? So, but I must say, as a fan, like to put myself in the shoes of a Carlton fan, I would kind of like to hear a bit of passion from a former player.
So that was West Coast.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a little different at the Eagles. I feel like we don't have a big media presence other than a few. So you don't get a lot of that. And when it's old players ragging West Coast, it feels like it comes from a bad place. But I remember Carl Langdon doing it last year, and I remember thinking, I actually like it because he's passionate about West Coast. So I wonder what Blues fans think about it.
Do you think, though, that you guys don't get that as much because of the fact that you're a stronger club, even though that doesn't feel like that right now? But
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not as though we're like, if you spend some time in Perth, we're not exactly insulated from bad press.
Yeah.
That's definitely not the case. But anyway, back on Carlton, I think I'd be curious to think what the fans had to say about it.
Yeah.
Because I kind of like when ex-players get passionate, because they're only doing it because they're now passionate fans, right?
Yeah. I think the fan, from my reading of the situation, I think the fans have generally had a sympathetic view towards Sam Doherty and are probably a little bit more disillusioned with the club for the fact that they've shut him out for that.
Yeah,
that's my takeaway. I mean, not everybody feels like that. And I think there's some sort of bad blood towards Dan in the whole thing for actually putting it out there, which I can totally understand.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think Doc's done anything wrong.
No, not at all.
A little bit stitched up there.
Not at all in this situation, but yeah, he's allowed to have his thoughts. Michael Voss in the presser was asked about it just this morning, and he said, kind of to defend the club in this situation, basically he said that at the end of year function, or at the best and fairest last year, he basically said culturally, us as a club, we defeat ourselves. So that was him sort of explaining the decision. They don't want that kind of discourse, I suppose.
That's interesting.
From people, I suppose, because Sam Doherty has been on the inside.
Yeah.
And they don't want that. But I don't know. I don't know if this is the right way to go about it.
I do think that him speaking at an event just days later would have been incredibly awkward. The round 6 thing is a little arbitrary, but I don't know. Hard to know. Oh, Blue Abroad, Bonk Choi says, Blue Abroad had a good take. Good to see the passion, but the club shouldn't have reacted and needs to focus on Richmond.
And I think that's the thing. The fans, if you beat Richmond, you're back. you're back, right? I think that's the big thing. It's funny because Carlton's next 3 games are all very winnable games, and they could well be 3-1.
Yeah.
But then they wouldn't have played anyone either. So it's like it's going to be really difficult to know where they're at after 5 games, I reckon. Unless they lose them all.
Yeah.
And then we'll know where they're at.
Oh, even if they lose one, you'll have a good idea where they're at, I think. Without knowing who the other 2 are. Who do they play? Do you know?
They play Melbourne, North Melbourne, and Richmond.
Yeah. I mean, if they lose any of those, then you're probably writing them off as a serious team this year, with all due respect.
You reckon?
Yeah. I think if they're 2-2, 2-2? 2-3? Sorry,
Yeah.
even 3-2 with a loss against Melbourne, I think you'd have serious question marks.
You probably would. I think we have. The only thing that I would give them a mulligan for is the fact that they got a lot of new players. They've got a new game style.
Fair.
And do we have to see that be kind of etched in a little bit more?
Yeah, the Brisbane Lions were 2-5 when they won the flag. So
yeah, and even like I remember back to that season of, and I don't like to do this because I think you're allowed to have a take. Like if a team gets off to a bad start and you don't like what you see, I think it's fair enough.
Sure.
To kind of go in on a team. But Hawthorn, I can't remember the year now. It's probably 2023 or 2024 when they first burst back up the ladder. And I reckon their first 5 or 6 rounds were horrendous.
I think they were 1-6.
1-6.
I think they were a bottom 3 contender with West Coast and North Melbourne at that point.
And people, that's where they were at from an external perspective and an internal perspective, I feel. And then they just went bang.
Yeah, well, I think it all started because they beat us by 20 goals and it was third last versus last. And everyone was like, whoa, that's not something you see.
What? No, it didn't. It started against us. They beat us in Tasmania.
Oh, okay.
And it was only about 5 goals.
Yeah.
But they really controlled us.
Sure.
And I remember thinking that day, I'm like, fucking hell, that's a game that we should be winning.
Yeah. That particular season, though, was a massive outlier. Hawthorn being a bottom 3 contender to semi-finals that same year, I reckon.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah, it was.
So it was 24. Must have been 24. Feels like a long time ago now, probably because it was back at the beginning. But it must have been
I'm blurring seasons.
It must have been the Ken Hinkley aeroplane.
Yeah, they beat us by 20 goals in 23, definitely.
Interesting.
Anyway, we could go down that a little bit further, but
we're getting bogged
I reckon
out.
it was 23 they had the mad season.
So to draw a line under that entire situation, that was all meant to be about Carlton.
Yes.
We got really off track there. What are we saying about this situation holistically?
I think Dan Gorringe misstepped by doing that without permission.
Yes. I think everybody agrees with that. I think he even agrees with that.
Yeah. I don't know if it's necessarily a dog act, but that's between them. Doherty hasn't done anything wrong, really. I mean, I suppose you could say it should have been some consideration for who he was sending the message to, but still, I think he could have reasonably expected that wouldn't have been verbatim. Yeah, it could have been paraphrased, but not played.
Well, I think that's what he said he expected.
Yeah.
It was going to be used within the podcast, not verbatim.
Yeah. And I don't know if Carlton should have like any sort of aggression towards Doherty, but I do sort of understand why he wasn't asked to present at a season launch or a round 1 event just days after that happened. I would have thought it would be maybe a good idea for everyone to take a beat, but not necessarily chastise him for it, considering he didn't do anything wrong.
That's probably the part that's difficult, where I feel it's unfair on him, because I feel like he shouldn't have been. He's kind of been, because of that, he's been publicly said, like, now it's a story, like that he's not allowed to be there for that event. So it kind of makes it a bigger thing than what it actually should be.
That's true. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's a tricky one. The Nick Dacos rule, we're just kind of working through some news here at the moment. The Nick Dacos rule is a change to the Collingwood Best and Fairest, where they now are giving, and Craig McRae admitted this in his post-match press conference after the St Kilda game, they've changed their Best and Fairest, and it feels like they've done it because Nick Dacos didn't win the Best and Fairest. He lost that to Darcy Cameron. The change is that now they'll be giving a higher amount of points to what they call, I can't remember the exact phrasing he used, but it was like outlier games. If you have a really big game, you can get extra points on top of what you already could. There's a higher amount on excess games.
Sorry, for the Best and Fairest?
For the Best and Fairest at Collingwood.
You'd have to be really careful about how you apply that.
Yeah.
Because 40-4 against West Coast shouldn't be counted.
Yeah, is that an extreme? That's what you call it, extreme games.
Yeah, but it should be counted maybe if it's like round 21 against Carlton and you've kicked 5 in the last quarter.
And it's got you into the finals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like, what's a more important game?
Oh, I think we know which one. But you just have to, I can see the unintended consequences of that being applied inconsistently and a little bit rigged. You'd have to really trust who's making those decisions.
Have we gone a little bit far here on the Nick Dacos? I know, so both sides of the Nick Dacos side of the fence, you have the glaze, which everybody gets sick of because he gets talked about by commentators, but then he has probably been a little bit unlucky in certain awards. Have we now gone too far back the other way, where Best and Fairest are getting changed for him?
Probably.
Yes.
I don't think that the Best and Fairest voting system is so fundamentally flawed that it needed to be refurbished.
Yeah, it didn't feel crazy that Darcy Cameron won their Best and Fairest last year.
Yeah, I mean, the result, like, you got to have faith in the vote givers, right? And if that's what the outcome has.
Well, the coaches.
Is it the coaches?
It's
always
entire,
the coaches?
And it's at Collingwood specifically, it's their, so it's not just Craig McRae, it's like the entire panel of coaches. They do their, like, whatever it is. Not 1, 2, 3, but.
Yeah. That seems fair enough. Like, that's a well-rounded enough system to not have to change it because you don't like one result in how many years of history.
Yeah, and I don't know how long they've done that for. I'm sure they haven't had it exactly the same way for
Yeah.
150 years.
No, that's true. But I'd imagine it hasn't been completely revolutionized. So in essence, I think it's a weird one. The actual idea is interesting, but it's fraught with danger.
What do you think like other players think about this? Like if you're Darcy Cameron, are you going like, I just won my first best and fairest, and they're like changing it because they think it was shit that I won?
Yeah. That's a fair point. He did have an outstanding season. And the idea is to reward consistency. And Darcy Cameron was incredibly consistent last year. So was Dacos, but evidently the coaches just felt differently. So you don't just change the inputs just because you don't like the outcome.
That's what it feels like, doesn't it? Do you think there's anything to do in this because of, okay, like obviously Dacos leaves the Brownlow disappointed. He leaves the best and fairest slightly disappointed. You got Tassie coming around the corner. Are they going like, we're actually trying to, like, we're a little bit concerned that he's getting unhappy and we want to fix some of these parameters for him to make it a little bit nicer?
I sincerely hope not. It's such a wanky thing to like, not rig, but change the certain variables to ensure an outcome where he gets a best and fairest. Like, is that really all he's motivated by?
I'm sure he's not.
Yeah.
But is it like more of a, like, I'm sure that Dacos isn't doing any of this
No,
stuff.
no.
But are the club just perceiving it and then kind of going like, how can we make it a bit nicer for him?
I hope not.
We could rig our best and fairest for him.
I hope they're just coming at it from the point of view of like, this wasn't possibly the right outcome, so how can we improve our award? Hopefully.
Yeah.
But any outcome where they're doing that with Tasmania in mind and trying to keep Nick Dacos, like there's so many other reasons that you can push
I was
harder.
just putting it out there. Like, don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah,
This is not my opinion. And Nick Dacos should be winning these awards.
That's right.
I'm just wondering, are we actually going a little, because this has happened, like Gary Ablett, he should have won more Brownlows. He had seasons where he could have won more Brownlow medals. I just feel like we've never been at a point where it's more the spotlight is on it when the favourite doesn't win. And they have those shots at the end and they kind of look like they're going to cry. Like I remember that a little bit with Ablett as well.
Yeah.
He had those moments sometimes where like they'd put it on him and he's lost by a vote. He probably could have had 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's true. I do think though, just going back to the actual rule change or suggested rule change, it is so arbitrary what's a big game and what's not, because I think of like, if you look at any premiership season, for instance, like yes, the big finals and the big moments matter, but so does like the 2-point win over a shit team that you had in round 10, because I just think of, my team. And when we...
Who do you go for again?
I don't know. Like I've gone back and looked at like games throughout 2018 and the games that you almost forget happened, be like, if that had gone slightly differently, then the whole thing unravels.
Yeah,
so you
just
apply
like
that to Collingwood.
A punchy 2-goal win
Yeah.
where it doesn't feel like much of a game.
Exactly. Or like McGovern after the siren against Port. That doesn't happen. We don't win the flag.
Yeah.
But it gets not forgotten about, but it gets lost. So in terms of this rule, applying that to what are the big games, what are the big performances that really mattered, and adding a multiplier of some kind is incredibly difficult.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's my understanding of it is that it's more around the performance, not the game. I don't think the games are weighted like this is a more important game than another one.
Sure.
But it's like if you have what they would call an extreme game, you have like bonus points.
Yeah, okay. It's interesting. It's probably just the reason that the timing of them changing it. That's the question mark.
Yeah.
But the actual idea is interesting. It's just you got to get it right.
It might be better. Like other teams might start doing it. It might actually be better.
Yeah.
And that will be interesting as well. On this Collingwood point, apparently, and I don't know how true this is, but apparently Carlton approached Craig McRae at the end of last season about him coaching Carlton.
It's brave.
It's real brave.
Brave. Oh, yeah. I mean,
It's happened before.
It's one of those things where when your team's struggling, people will laugh at that. But that's what the best clubs would do. They wouldn't rule themselves out of getting any target. Now, that is so ambitious, trying to poach Collingwood's head coach who's 1 year out from a premiership.
Right now.
Yeah, or 2 years out. 2 years out.
Where Carlton are.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, like all the best to them for trying. But it was just such a long shot. Yeah, I don't see any argument against why they shouldn't have, other than the fact
Embarrassing.
I reckon the best clubs just do, and I'm not saying Carlton is, but they're obviously striving to be. And I think you just got to do what you think is best. And if poaching one of the best coaches in the league is that, then I'm not going to criticize them for having a crack.
Okay.
I'd probably criticize them more for not having a crack.
Yeah, okay. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. I just thought maybe there's an element where, I mean, it's not like the industry's cutthroat enough that you can't, I agree with you. You can't not make those calls. But I suppose like when you do you're talking about this like alignment constantly. They use that phrase constantly, Carlton, since last year. And it doesn't show a lot of faith in the program that you've got currently.
Yeah.
It shows that you want to make drastic change.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that would be an extreme choice and path to go down.
Yeah. But you could also argue that sitting on their hands and saying, well, we've made a commitment. We've got one more year of Michael Voss. We're not even going to consider anyone else.
We just got to go through with it
now. Yeah,
now.
that's probably plateauing or
That's
what's
negligent.
the word? Complacency. If I don't know if that's the right word. But a good example is, Fremantle, 2012, I think it was, or 2011, the poach Ross Lyon from St Kilda, who was an active coach.
Yep.
And they ditched Mark Harvey, who was actually going okay from memory, maybe not completely locked in, but he played finals 1 year before. I would say that was a successful move to get Ross Lyon. It got them to a grand final.
Definitely.
So 15 points off a premiership. So it's one of those things where if they fail to do that, they're laughed at, but they were successful. And I think around that period was a big turning point for Fremantle as an organisation. So I guess Carlton are trying to emulate that, but it was never going to happen.
No. Where do you sit on the Michael Voss at Carlton? Like, do you think they should persist with him, or do you think it's kind of past its...
I think they should see out this year within reason. Like, obviously, if they're 0-14, then you maybe don't see out the entire season. But I think there's been so many coaches over the years who have looked like they're struggling, and then with a little bit more patience, were able to deliver. And obviously, Damien Hardwick's the most famous of that.
Yeah.
But
Thompson,
Nathan Buckley, to some extent, right before Collingwood made the grand final in 2018, like 12 months out,
he was about to go.
That was that was a massive rise up the ladder, and obviously, eventually, they ended up not winning a premiership under Buckley. But I think they're better off having stuck with him. Now, it's a massive question: is Voss Nathan Buckley? Maybe not, but he has taken him to a prelim once. So I think there's enough there to see how this group gels under this coach before they ditch it.
Yeah.
I do think it needs to be this year that we see some, and it doesn't necessarily have to mean he gets measured on how high he finishes, but the playing style needs to evolve. And if he achieves that, then it's probably worth persisting.
I completely agree. I think that's what these next games are about. Like, I think people have talked about, they need to be 3-1. I actually think that's less important than the method.
Yes.
Which really needs to be examined in the first half of this season.
Got some better opportunities now. Like, coming up against Sydney at the SCG in opening round was always going to be tough. Like, it was one of the most damaging sides who can punish you in the competition, if not the most, Sydney. And then they got some easier beats, with all due respect to those clubs, coming up. And it's a better opportunity for them to play a style without the same amount of pressure.
Exactly. And to be fair on them, and again, we're going to get into this game, but if you just judge it on the first half of the game, they were doing okay. They weren't doing brilliantly, but they were doing okay.
Absolutely.
At halftime. It was the third quarter, and that's probably a bit of an outlier. Like, you're not going to get... There's not that many teams in the competition that are going to hurt you like that.
Yeah.
Like Sydney hurt them on Thursday.
Oh,
so
true.
That is an interesting one. I think we did have a super chat.
We did.
That we missed, and I think it was Redback Spider, which is my boy Nigel. We're just going to go back up here. Redback Spider 72. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate that. It says most have Swans top 6 and Blues bottom 6. So top 6 beats bottom 6 by 10 goals. No surprises, which is kind of what we said.
That's true. I think we were all pretty encouraged, depending on your viewpoint of Carlton, from the first half. Like, as you said, it was ugly, but they were getting the better of Sydney.
Yeah.
And they were 22 points up early in that third term.
Early in the third quarter.
It's just that the comeback was so dramatic from Sydney that it felt listless.
12 goals.
Yeah.
And they were running. I mean, it showed, I think like Sydney can do that to you as well. Like, Sydney can show the gap. If you've got unathletic midfielders that can't get out of stoppage, they'll show you up.
Yes, and that they did.
That they absolutely did. Goulden, Heaney, Warner absolutely smashed them. Jesse, this opening round unveiled a lot. I just love that little eyebrow move. It unveiled a lot. What did you think of the round overall? Do you have any takeaways?
To sum it up with one general point, it was interesting to see which teams came prepared and which didn't. You know, like I thought there was some disappointing performances. I think Hawthorn would arguably be one of the most disappointed. But I did note that none of the teams who made it to the final 2 weeks of the season played well. Oh, except Collingwood. Sorry, Collingwood probably did, but Hawthorn played poorly.
There's probably an argument, though, to be fair. Like Collingwood played a really tactical game and they did well, but they got kind of beaten on the stat sheet.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
They found a way to win.
Yeah, I think it was sort of like decision making with St Kilda's issue, but that is kind of how Collingwood play. Like I've seen them. Well, we saw them get games last year. One game in Perth against Fremantle in particular, where I think Fremantle were also controlling the ball a lot, but that last kick inside 50 was killing them every time, and Collingwood won the game by 4 goals. So that's not completely new, but just generally on the.
I think Collingwood. Can I just cut in there? I think Collingwood do that when they don't have all their personnel.
Fair.
That's often how their games go. And if you remember back to that Freo game, that was a big win for Collingwood because they had a lot of players that they didn't take over there.
Yes.
And this game's the same.
Good point.
Yeah, because they do like to play. They want to play a forward half game.
Yeah.
But I feel like if their personnel's not all there, they accept the deficiencies and they just play the opposition or they play the situation.
That's true. Yeah. But the other 3, Geelong got battered. Hawthorn should have been more competitive than they were.
Yeah.
They weren't battered, but still. One of the more disappointing results, I'd say.
I'd say they were battered, just not on the scoreboard.
Yeah. And then the Brisbane Lions got 26 points in front and lost. So I don't know. There's not a lot of data to suggest anything there, but it did remind me of when Brisbane played Carlton in 2024's opening round, coming off the grand final, and they got mowed down after 8 goals in front. So I just wonder if there's just a little bit of variable with opening round specifically and teams who play deep. Like you don't know what you're going to get, and I think we saw some surprises.
I like that. I had my eyes on some of the new rules.
Oh yeah.
So I had a look at some statistics. So we're up from 2025's average points per game. We're at plus 13 in points, so 97.3 points across the opening round of the season. Now that's an incredibly small sample size because not everybody played.
That's true.
And I do feel like sometimes we have this conversation. I mentioned this to you before. We come into opening round, the ground's hard, it's quick, and scoring is high, and then it does plateau a little bit. So I think there needs to be more time, but certainly watching the games, my eye told me that centre bounce scoring looked really, really open, and it's something we talked about with Tom Mitchell in the Carlton versus Sydney game. The rucks that can get that ball to the outside, and then a combination of that with having those really strong inside to outside mids that have like that explosive running ability, that looked so dynamic and so easy to get from inside to out and be able to put it on the scoreboard. And I think that was, if you look at some of the teams, or if you just look at centre bounce scoring on its own, 2026, 12.9 versus 2025, 11.4. So that's plus 1.5 points. Not a huge uptick, but the eye test felt like that was stronger. And I think teams were able to do it in bursts really, really quickly. Like we saw Sydney do that in the third quarter. They probably didn't score at all from centre bounce in the first half and just went bang.
Barely scored at all in the first half.
Yes. The other thing that I noticed with the ball probably being in play more, if you looked at the overall quarter lengths, we still had as much time for the quarter, but the ball's in play more. So the lengths haven't changed, but the ball's in play. And I think teams, to combat that a little bit, played high uncontested marking game styles in the back half. So you had more of the ball in play, but it was just being passed around in an uncontested marking fashion to kind of basically to keep your energy up. Collingwood did that really well. The Brisbane Lions did that really, really well as well. And partly that was the opposition who kind of allowed them to be able to do that and like roll back a little bit. But I do think both of those teams, I think we could find this across the season, that teams use this as a strategy to not get tired and not get blown out of games too quickly.
Interesting. Did you say the quarters were as long?
Quarters, yeah. So the big talk about all these rules were that we would sort of quicken up the game.
Yeah.
The quarters went just as long.
Yeah. I think that's because there were so many goals though.
Yes.
Because against Sydney, we had a 40-plus minute quarter, and I think it was the same maybe for GWS Hawthorn in the first quarter.
Yeah.
It was like 84 points or something,
wasn't
83.
Like a 40-minute quarter in the Sydney Carlton game?
Yeah, that was what I said.
Oh, that's what you said.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. I think that was probably the 15-goal quarter or 16-goal quarter we saw in Q3.
Yes.
Just, interesting.
So they were some of the takeaways. I think those, like it's clear that those rucks that, like I look at Tim English, he looks tailor-made for this. Brodie Grundy looks tailor-made. TDK and probably Luke Jackson. And I had a look at all of the rucks across the competition, sitting at top 3 in score involvements. Tim English, Brodie Grundy, TDK.
Yeah, wow.
They were your top 3 for score involvements. And also those inside to outside mids. The players that I counted that had 50+% CBAs and 10+ score involvements. Noah Anderson, Christian Petrarca, Ed Richards, Nick Dacos and Errol Goulden.
Yeah, wow.
Guys that can get to the outside. And they were the ones that putting it on the scoreboard. So
I like that.
it's interesting. And probably the only other takeaway that I had from a tactical point of view was the handball game. So AFL teams averaged in 2025 146.6 handballs, and it was up to 162.6
Wow.
in this round. So about plus 20
Yeah.
on that. And I think that's got to do with that sort of stand rule. Teams are really trying to use that to move the ball quicker.
Yeah, that's interesting. One thing that just popped into my head was this data is also influenced by the fact that we saw the good half of teams this week. You know,
100%.
when you look taking all the data, like the bottom 4 from last year obviously didn't play.
I know.
West Coast is bringing that average right down.
Bring it down. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the average score is going to drop massively
I'm
when
like,
West Coast
disposal
play.
efficiency was incredible.
Yeah, that is true. I did also have those top 2 rucks in my game day squad this week.
Well
I went
done.
Tim English and Brody Grundy.
I didn't have Tim English.
Didn't you?
No.
Yeah.
How did Brody Grundy do?
I think in game day squad it was a 121 is English and then 116 was Grundy.
Yeah,
And
okay.
I think I had Grundy on the bench, so I made that choice correctly.
Got him. Actually, on that, like Ed Richards had 16 score involvements in that game.
He had a monstrous game day squad week as well, which we'll get into. I do also want to shout out, we have a sideline message. Salutations from North America. I'm going to be so effing obnoxious about my Sunnies all goddamn year. This man's either bought a pair of Ray-Bans or he's talking about the Gold Coast Suns.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I didn't get that at first.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh,
We do have a super chat as well.
we better read that.
Yeah.
We better read that.
It is from Grimsby, I think. Yep. Hawthorn need to bring in Matt Hill. Also bring Max Ramsden back. Shout out Druzy. Thank you, Grimsby, for that donation. If I'm blanking on who Matt Hill is.
Is that the commentator?
Yeah, I think so. But
Hawthorn need to bring in Matt Hill.
if you could. Oh, yeah. Then Jingo says Matt Hill is the best commentator.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what Hawthorn
I actually don't like Matt Hill as a commentator at all.
Okay. Interesting.
It's not my vibe.
Yeah.
Who's your favourite commentator?
R.I.P. Dennis Cometti. I know that's not really what you asked me, but that just popped into my head. I was really sad about that. I think the whole footy world was pretty shocked. He had some great ripping moments.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Definitely like one of those things where your childhood, you get good nostalgia when you think about Dennis
He's just
Cometti.
so good. One that I didn't even remember was they say it's easy to run downhill, but tell that to McIntosh, and he's trying to run down Brad Hill. And I was like, how do you think of that?
How do you think of that in the moment?
Because he must have only, like, you can probably pre-can a few of them, but that one, you got to wait. Oh, maybe he pre-canned that. Either way, he's a genius.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard. I don't think you can do that. I did actually have one other thing to talk about with the rules, the interchange. I thought this was fascinating how this was used. Scott Pendlebury, 55% game time.
Unbelievable.
26 disposals, 10 score involvements, and 5 goal assists. I think they played that absolutely perfectly, the Pies.
Yeah. It was a strange use of extended bench where it's almost like the idea is when you've got to play, you keep him in rotations rather than let players collectively spend more time off.
Yeah.
Is almost how it was, so that they don't get cold or something like that.
He was coming on at like the end of quarters.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, that's insane. 55%.
55% game time. The only other St Kilda they used Jack McRae in a similar way. He had 52% game time, but didn't have anywhere near as much impact as a player. There was a few teams that kind of just used the fringe player, like Jai Clark for Geelong, Alex Davies for Gold Coast, and Zane Zakastilski for the Brisbane Lions, which is kind of like probably just that 23rd man operation. And then Sydney used Papley, the Dogs used Sam Davidson, and Carlton used Liam Reedy, which was kind of that second ruck option.
Yeah.
So different ways that teams were doing it, but Collingwood cracked the code for me.
Yeah. I mean, it helps that they have a Scott Pendlebury to use, right?
Well, we spoke about it with Tom Mitchell, and we talked about how no coaches with the sub rule really ever got it. Like nobody ever cracked the code of how to use it. And Tom kind of said, well, it's because the player that you're bringing on is ultimately not that good.
That's true.
But if you can use an older player, an experienced player like Scott Pendlebury, they can, manufacture a result for you.
That's true. That's a luxury that only Collingwood have. But, there'd be a few equivalents around. But, yeah, that is fascinating.
The question would be, like, would they be able to put their money where their mouth is in a big game? Would they hold him back
Probably
like
not.
that if it was a final? You just want to play him for the whole game.
Yeah. Yeah, there's probably a sense of managing as well, like an extended season, opening round, player playing in his 21st season and nursing him through a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'd imagine if we're in a qualifying final or a semi-final.
Do you think coaches could get like tactical to the point with this though, where you could look at someone like a Scott Pendlebury, like we're going to bring him on. when everybody's a little bit more tired towards
Yeah.
that back end of the quarter.
Smart.
And we can actually play let's say we play the first 8 minutes really defensively. We're just going to batten down the hatches. We're not going to let the opposition score. We're going to be really, really rigid, push numbers back, and then pretty much soak up, let them use up their energy and then try to hit them in those red time minutes. Could you see more of a game style like that, do you think?
You think so? It does seem a little, straight off the bat, it feels a little dicey to play the first half of quarters defensively. I feel like that's so risky.
It is.
You know what I mean? It's got to be dependent
in a
on
high
that
scoring
situation.
game.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's fraught with danger. But in general, I think it opens up a few doors tactically. And it would give opposition coaches a little bit of a headache there. It's like, why isn't Scott Pendlebury on?
Yeah, exactly.
I
Although,
think it's
I don't know if you caught this, but Ross Lyon in the post-match about Scott Pendlebury, he was asked about his influence. And he's looking at his sheet. I don't know if you saw this.
No.
He's looking at his sheet and he's like, Pendlebury. And he's like, what do you have? And he's like, 26. He's like, he had one kick in the first half. And he pretty much just completely disregarded his impact on the game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a massive, he had 5 score assists.
5 direct score assists.
That's crazy.
And 10 score involvement. So
Yeah.
he did it all by hand.
And it was kind of it was kind of a low scoring game as well.
It was.
So you'd think those 5 would stand out a bit more.
St Kilda do that a bit though, with the way that they defend. They always play these dour, low scoring games.
Absolutely.
Should we get into the games though?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just trying to think if I had any other points. No, I think we're good. I will shout out that this stream is brought to you in a partnership with bets.com.au, who provide game previews and predictions that are statistically and analytically driven, completely free, and also let you know which Aussie bookmakers are providing the best odds on the selected markets. Let's talk. Opening round.
Let's do it.
I actually do have one other takeaway. Sorry.
Okay.
It's a broad one.
Okay.
I feel like this did kind of also make, what am I trying to say? I think
Use
this
your words.
underscored the argument that I say every year, which is that preseason games don't mean much.
What if you're Hawthorn?
Yeah, well, you can probably pick out a few. I'm sure West Coast also will play shit in this season, right? Or North Melbourne. But take the Gold Coast Suns. A 12-goal loss to St Kilda in their first preseason game, and then a loss to the Brisbane Lions, which, we probably expect that, but or at least not surprised by that.
Sure.
Collingwood also, admittedly, they've been undermanned, but they performed strongly and St Kilda didn't, for instance. GWS.
Mm.
And there's many surprising elements to GWS's performance, but
There are.
I would use those games as examples of, Carlton beat the 2 grand finalists.
Totally. Carlton would be the one for your point. Hawthorn would be the one. I just think you can and you can't.
Well,
You've just
sometimes
got to be
it'll
really
correlate.
contextual about it.
I think sometimes it will correlate, but the argument is against getting too defeated or too excited by preseason games.
100%.
Not so much that it will never be, what's the word I'm trying to use? I had a festival this weekend, Dylan.
It's tiring. I can't go to festivals anymore. It's too tiring.
It won't be descriptive of what's to come, or it won't forecast necessarily what's to come, but it might correlate.
I mean,
That's
you're
my
absolutely spot on when it comes to the Gold Coast Suns because they were ridiculous. And I might start with that game.
Yeah, please do.
Let's start with that game. Where were they? Where were the Gold Coast Suns?
It was Friday night. It was at home at People's First Stadium.
I don't know why I've picked this game out, mainly just because of off the back of your topic there, but they beat the Cats 125 to 69. They led by as much as, I think, 85-ish points during this game. And I just thought they were absolutely incredible, Jesse.
And the scoreline flattered Geelong.
It did in the end.
It got to 85 points, which I can't remember exactly what the stat was, but someone said it was going to be their biggest loss under Chris Scott or nudging it.
Really?
Yeah, if it would have how many? I think the Cats have lost by 100 points under Chris Scott, quite a few years ago.
Was that in a game where they rested a bunch of players right before the finals?
Couldn't tell you, but it was against Sydney, I reckon.
Okay.
Sydney beat them by over 100 one year. I reckon that it was a year they missed the finals, if I had to guess.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. But in any case, that is very rare air for Geelong to be in. It was 85 points at one point and looked like it was going to blow past that.
Yep. I mean, the Suns' pressure and forward half game in this one were obscene. 79 points from forward half turnover. They had 71 inside 50s, 202 handballs. They basically just had defenders coming onto them. What's that? Bunny hop kind of over the top. handball.
Yeah.
I reckon there were 3 players that made this performance for the Gold Coast Suns. I reckon you go Christian Petrarca, Bailey Humphrey, and Leo Lombard.
Mm.
Those guys are built to play the modern game. I just heard that little. That was brilliant.
I was hoping the camera wasn't on me. I don't know.
That was so good. These 3 guys are built to play the modern game of footy. I've been talking about it, like the new ruck rules, getting from inside to out at stoppages, and then just having that explosive pace on the outside. All 3 of those guys have got it. Most teams don't have one of these guys. Well, a lot of teams don't have one of these guys, and they've got 3 of them. And they're all, top 10 draft picks?
I was about to say, I was trying to work it out in my head. I think Humphrey was pick 6, Lombard.
Pick 8?
Yeah, it was 8. Yeah, it was definitely top 10. And Petrarca was pick 2.
Yeah,
So,
back in the day. And Petrarca looked every bit of back to his absolute best.
Yeah.
Looks super, super fit. I don't think there was any doubt with Petrarca that he was going to get back to his best. But I think just to have that performance, particularly in round 1 and against a strong opposition, and just being able to see those guys just burst away, Geelong didn't have any answer for this.
Absolutely. It's amazing to think they did this without Matt Rowell.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not amazing because the talent's still good, but it's just amazing to think the Brownlow medalist is still to come in back into the side.
I mean, I don't think it's one of those things where Matt Rowell comes back into the side and they get better.
No, I don't think so either. They did actually lose clearance by 7 as well. Not that made a lick of difference for the Cats, really.
Not when you have 71 inside 50s.
Oh, absolutely.
And score 80 points from turnover.
Yeah.
I actually had a look at that. I think it's like a team hasn't scored 79. Like that's like it hasn't been done since like 2022
Yeah, wow.
with that amount.
Yeah.
So it's a big number.
It's probably like the trend of this weekend is probably concerning for the Cats because there was another game where they were probably strong in the contest, relatively speaking. It was a little bit like Carlton. And then as soon as there was space, I mean, Gold Coast and Sydney, 2 of the more damaging sides in terms of like the personnel and the talent they have on the outside.
What I thought was scary for Geelong, like if you look at all of 2025, they were like the best ball movement team in the competition.
Yeah.
And they just could not move the ball. They couldn't kick between the Gold Coast Suns defence. So the Suns would just get it inside 50. The ball would go out, stoppage or turnover, whatever it might be. And Geelong just could not bring the ball out. So it was just repeatedly going back in there. That's why they had 71.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the Suns were, splitting them up. That sounds gross. Splitting them open.
I was actually going to leave that one.
They weren't, they weren't kind of like hitting these precision passes inside forward 50. It was just the weight of numbers that was too much for Geelong. And they never really looked like being able to get the ball on their terms, be able to hang on to the footy, hip kicks between the lines, those sorts of things. I actually took who was it? It was Tom Atkins said, like, we were too cute. We needed to go longer and we just kept trying to hit those layer kicks. And that's exactly what they did. Like, they never really went direct. And it's not really their game style. But I feel like at some point they kind of had to realise how up and about the Gold Coast Suns were for this game and just change their ways a little bit.
Yeah. I'm not at all surprised to see the Cats slow to start, though.
No.
Just to go back to my opening
so
round point that I keep banging on about.
No, but where are we on Geelong? Because I don't think you can just... Do you simply just let this performance go?
Probably not internally.
No, but
Like,
we're not internal. We don't work
That's
at
true.
Geelong.
That's true. Honestly, with the Cats, probably. If the Brisbane Lions got slaughtered as well, you'd have to probably dismiss it just because there's an element of trust there.
Yeah.
It can't continue for too long. But they were coming up against a very talented team on their home deck.
They were. You made a good point, though, in the preseason about teams that have had a difficult loss in the grand final and being able to bounce back from that. Any stock in that after this one?
It's too early to extrapolate on that too much. But, of course, you got to keep it in the back of your mind. And if we're still talking about this in rounds 6, 7, then maybe the Cats might have fluffed their season. But at the moment, like, that's a difficult trip at the moment, playing the Gold Coast Suns.
I think it might be the hardest trip in football in 2026.
Could be.
Just with the way that they are.
They've already a strong home ground team, right? Their home record has been strong for years.
Who's got a midfield athletic enough to go with them? When I say Noah Anderson, Christian Petrarca, Leo Lombard, Bailey Humphrey, Will Powell, Tuke Miller, who can run with that midfield?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think who the best midfields are. The Brisbane Lions wouldn't be as athletic.
No.
Bulldogs,
possibly.
Still quite athletic.
Yeah.
Maybe not as athletic still, but yeah, I get your point. Absolutely. Sorry, we just got a couple of super chats there I want to mention. The first one was Grimsby clarifying that he meant the player Matt Hill, who was a uncapped Hawthorn player that was signed from the Melbourne Storm Academy. I actually don't know who he is, but
I've literally never heard of him.
But he's saying that he's the cousin of the other Hills,
Oh,
which would be Stephen, Brad, Bobby, I presume.
Yep.
Well. I think they're related. Famous West Coast player,
Okay.
Josh. So he was talking about a player that they're going to potentially bring in. I can't pretend to know too much about Matt Hill.
Redback Spider there. Matt Hill plays for Hawthorn, calls the races and the footy. Bloke does it all.
Bong Choi has also dropped a super chat. Thank you so much. Says Gold Coast v Sydney in Gather Round will be game of the year. Let's have a look. I just got it open there. It's at Norwood.
Norwood.
That's an Adelaide Oval game, surely.
You'd think so, wouldn't
You'd
you? 'Cause
hope so.
Norwood's that. I mean, it's really quaint. The Norwood Oval. It's
Yeah.
very decadent.
Je ne sais quoi.
Je ne sais quoi.
It's not right at all.
I don't think that really applies, but it's also very skinny.
Yeah.
Norwood.
Okay.
It's one of
Is
those
it?
like really easy grounds to defend.
Yeah,
Low
right.
scoring, a lot of congestion, a lot of density.
Yeah.
It'll be fun though.
Yeah. There'll be some fireworks from these two sides. They could play in the finals this year for sure.
Very, very exciting. I think, I mean, based off, I don't want to go too early here, but I feel like the Gold Coast Suns looked better.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the Swans did struggle for a half.
They did.
It's just more like when they're on, they're shit hot.
They are.
And even someone like McInerney, who's probably like the 13th player you think of when you think of the Sydney Swans, was one of the most damaging players in that period.
He was great too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It's a bit scary.
Could
It's
be a
bit scary.
breakout season.
Do you think it's funny with the Gold Coast Suns that they've kind of been the little brother all the way through? Like GWS have been seen as the big success story. And I think it's probably fair to say that right now the Gold Coast Suns are closer to a flag.
Oh, yeah, absolutely are. I mean, the Giants got close and now, that I wouldn't say they've fallen away. Like, we'll talk about them. Their performance was quite strong as well.
Oh, it was a good performance, but I don't think you're basing, like off the back of that, I don't think you're going, they're winning the premiership
No,
this year.
absolutely not. For the first time, the Gold Coast Suns have a playing list that is the talented players are just about in their prime.
Yeah,
Or-
they're coming into it.
Yeah, coming into it. And they've got a really strong playing group with a lot of depth and a great coach. So I would agree. Yes, they certainly seem closer to a premiership, but the Giants are pesky.
They are pesky.
They are
They're
pesky.
They've still got a talented list too. I
Yeah.
totally agree. But it's just, it kind of crossed my mind this week where I'm like, it's always been that the Gold Coast Suns are a shit show of a club, off the field.
Yeah.
They haven't done things right
No,
to get
no.
themselves to this position, but now they're finally here.
They have had some help, to be fair.
They have.
I mean, the
What are you
Giants.
referring to?
the Giants got a lot more help early, like a decent amount more.
There was
They've also
always
did things better.
there was always a thought though that the Giants planned better for sustained success.
Yes.
I think. And the
They
Gold
did.
Coast Suns just went like, we want like that big name player, bring him in.
Yep.
They did I suppose Giants did the Israel Folau thing too, but yeah, Carmichael Hunt, Gary Ablett, that type of thing. And they never really set themselves up to retain players and that sort of thing, but they're there now.
Yeah, that's true. Mind you, the Giants didn't retain players either. They lost a lot of players. It's just that they had so many good players they were able to pick and choose a little bit.
Yeah. That's true. I guess the fact that they almost knew that they were going to lose players and they set their off-field team up so well that they could combat that a little bit.
Absolutely.
So that's
Absolutely.
interesting.
But they've never had a list as strong as Gold Coast do now, that's for sure.
Oh, that's an interesting point, isn't it? Do you reckon they're
yeah.
like their Leon Cameron grand final side
No,
was less talented?
I think it was less talented.
I
yeah.
agree.
Yeah,
I
It
agree.
did have Jeremy Cameron.
Jeremy Cameron, Toby
Yeah.
Green.
Yeah.
It would have been, was Taranto in that team?
Yeah. Oh.
Not that I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. He would have.
Josh Kelly,
Yeah,
probably in
Taranto
his
was.
prime.
Yeah. I mean, again, there's a little bit of what they were versus the potential of the Gold Coast Suns. Still,
Yeah.
we're still a little bit talking about potential, but I would argue that this playing list is stronger.
I would agree. And you've also got the fact that you've got Damien Hardwick.
Yes.
He's probably a better coach than Leon Cameron. We're just
Yeah.
going to say that. GWS defeated the Hawks 122-95 at NG Stadium. Where are we sitting? What's the narrative, the prevailing narrative from this game? I'm saying it's a bit of an embarrassing loss for the Hawks.
Yes. Of the 3 tips I got wrong this weekend, Dylan, I tipped St Kilda to beat Collingwood, and when they didn't, I was like, I probably should have seen that coming.
Hang on, I got 3 tips wrong as well.
Yeah.
So I got the Gold Coast Suns right,
Yeah.
and I got
Sydney? No, you tipped Carlton,
I tipped
didn't you?
Carlton. What was the other one?
Did you tip the Bulldogs?
I tipped Collingwood.
You tipped Collingwood. Okay,
Yes.
good tip. So I tipped St Kilda, got it wrong, and I'm like, okay, I see how I got that wrong. The Bulldogs beating the Brisbane Lions, also not a shock given
No,
the Bulldogs are so talented, right?
I tipped Brisbane, but
Yeah. The Giants beating Hawthorn, even after the fact, I'm still surprised. Because I did not tip them hard to finish in my ladder.
If they were both coming in full strength, though, would you feel the same way? Because I think I still would have tipped the Giants if they were full strength.
Yeah. Well, I think that was a big argument for me was the personnel the Giants are missing.
Brent Daniels,
Yeah.
Tom Green, Josh Kelly, Sam Taylor, Aaron Cadman, Darcy Jones. And I think there's even more than that. They were just like the big names that I could think of.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, so many of those plays are key to the way they play.
So what does that mean for the Hawks? Because they've got so many hopes on this season. I feel like they can't have another year where they just flounder in mid-table. Not that they've been they made a prelim last year. That's harsh on them.
Yeah, I know what you mean, though. The way their list is set up, albeit you could argue, like, we know they're missing Will Date. There's not a whole lot of reason to push back the expectations a year or two. Like, it's a pretty mature list. So you got to take every game seriously. That being said, it is still it was round 0. So it's not alarm bells, but nonetheless, of the results that happened this weekend, I wouldn't say necessarily the most disappointing because there were probably other teams who played worse, but probably the biggest surprise. That makes it worse.
The red flag is here, though. What would you, if I'd have said, why can't Hawthorn have a good season this year? What would it be? Like, tell me the reason.
Why can't Hawthorn have a good season?
Yeah.
Probably just the midfield punch.
The midfield punch?
Yeah.
Scores from stoppage, 47-25 in
Hawthorn's
favour of the Giants.
I was going to say, and that was exactly well, that was the issue that I thought the Giants would have this year.
Yeah.
As well.
But I actually think if you actually look at the personnel of their midfield, they were terrible from the midfield last year from a clearance differential point of view. The thing that I had difficulty in kind of like lining all of that up was why? Why were they so bad from clearance? They got the players. Like their midfield's not shit.
No, that's true.
I feel like when you look at Hawthorn's midfield on paper, you go,
it's workmanlike.
It's workmanlike. It is. And like they lost Warple, which is another workman in there, but it's I mean, you got Nash. The main three that lined up in there were Nash, Newcomb, and fucking McDonald. They're not going to get it done.
Was McDonald really that regular?
He's a midi.
Yeah, right.
He's a midi.
Yeah, wow.
So they can throw guys like Dylan Moore and Nick Watson in there for a little bit of punch. Like they did that a few times, and like they won some centre bounces doing that. But I don't know if it's sustainable. It's a concern for them because they're running out of triggers that they can bring in there. Like Weddle, I thought they might have been able to. I thought not McDonald, McKenzie might have been the one to go in there, but it just hasn't worked out.
No.
And now we're at round 0 and they're getting flogged. We go back to that 2024 season, so they have been able to turn poor form around in season. But it's a red flag. That performance is a red flag.
Was it 23? Not that it matters too much. You mean the year they made the prelim?
No, they made the semi against Port
in
24.
Yeah.
Prelim last year.
Yeah. Semi, they got knocked out by Brisbane.
Did they get knocked out by Port? Am I thinking a wrong year?
I think you're thinking of a wrong year because
maybe that was 20. So it was the Ken Hinkley playing Jack Ginnivan.
24.
That was 24.
I'm pretty sure.
That's a semi.
Yeah. That was Port and Hawthorn, though.
Yeah. Who are you talking about?
I was thinking GWS. That whole thing was my fault. I was like, guys, Dylan's just lost it here. I'm so sorry. I just derailed that.
Don't worry. We're talking about the Hawks there.
Okay, yes. My mind wandered to GWS, yes.
Now I know. Now I get what you're talking about.
Yeah. Gotcha. What do you think of Clayton Oliver in this game? After a pretty lackluster preseason showing, he performed well, at least by numbers.
I thought he was okay. Yeah? I think that there's been a bit of a beat up around how well he played in this game. He was good.
Yeah.
Like he was good. He won a lot of clearances.
Yeah, I think he won 9 or something like that.
Yeah, tough around the ball and like he created, but it wasn't the Christian Petrarca performance.
No,
albeit that was like an incredible performance.
Yeah,
so
it's true.
It's hard to judge. I think he would do a job, but like he's not what he was for Melbourne in 2021. Like the modern game has changed around him, and I don't think he'll ever be able to get back to what he was, not because of him, just because of how the game's changed.
Yeah, that's true. Albeit you'd argue that with the absence of Tom Green, him coming in and winning 9 clearances in this game was pretty important.
I think previous, if they were both in the side, they'd have to share that a little bit, and I don't think he would have had as good a season.
True.
I think he'll be pretty good in there for them, given that he's out.
Yep. Absolutely.
What are people saying in the chat?
The Hawks getting a bit of a free ride. They sped through their rebuild, and due to the good coach, they went on big on trades and free agency. But are they really contenders?
Well, that's it. And like I feel like they're going to have another year. I'm calling this very early, obviously,
Yeah.
but it feels like they're going to have another year of just not really being quite good enough, not being bad. And then where do they go from here?
It's tough though, because they were at halftime of the prelim looking like they were going to play in a grand final, or at least like right in the mix. That they were got several goals in front of the Cats.
Yeah.
So and while they finished 8th, it was a year where there was thin margins between about 3rd and 8th, I reckon. So they showed that they're not actually that far off, and that was in a season without someone like a Will Day, right?
Yeah.
But I do agree that how are they going to improve with the fairly mature list? It's not as though there's no youngsters who can improve, but there's not so much of that you can expect it to take them to a meaningful jump in 2026.
That's the thing. So like you look at all of the teams in the competition, like look at Brisbane, who won the premiership.
Mm-hmm.
They've got more avenues for improvement than Hawthorn.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Geelong bought in Warple. They took a Hawthorn player. So like Hawthorn actually had something taken away from their midfield, which is a concern. We thought that Will Day was going to come back in, but now we don't really know where that's going to go.
Yeah. Flip side though, someone like a Ginnivan, someone like a Connor McDonald, like a Cam McKenzie and a Nick Watson, fair bit of upside there. None of those are those stoppage players.
No, I think Nick Watson is the wild card. Like he's the one that can actually be really dynamic in there and help them. I don't know about Ginnivan and McDonald though.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know what McDonald. Sorry.
I was going to say I think Ginnivan's best form has been outstanding. So if he just gets more consistent at that
in the forward line,
that would be sort of like a higher play. He's shown he can push up and win the footy as well.
Yeah,
not as
he's a good
necessarily
high forward.
Inside mid.
I don't know if McDonald's good enough to play full time mid.
No. None of that was an argument for their midfield as such.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The Giants though, where can they go based on this performance? Actually, I wanted to shout out Phoenix Gothard made his debut. He looked good. He had a close to an 11-point player rating game. He kicked a couple of goals. There was a few moments where he was matched up on Josh Weddle, and just because of his diminutive size, he was able to just get out of the tackle.
Yeah.
Just like he was just a bit too slippery and a bit too loose for him. And there's those players, like those small forwards that they've got that can work in congestion. I don't know. It's like with the Giants, they can be missing all of those players, but their system is so good that you plug and play and you're like, is Phoenix Gothard any worse than having Darcy Jones in there?
Yeah.
It's kind of the same. It's just the same guy. They just plug and play.
Wow. Yeah. That's scary. Then we know they've got more to come as well. This was the biggest argument for system over personnel, wasn't it, this game? That's one thing the Giants have done so well. Obviously, last year, they had a real trouble stopping teams getting run-ons. And it's still early to test whether they've gotten better at that. They did, like in this game, I think Hawthorn cut the margin from 40 to 21 pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Something like that. And they were able to arrest that momentum. So that's a little tick. But generally the way they play is what has made them so good.
I reckon this is the slight question mark on system. You know, like we had the conversation on Thursday night as well, where like you have a coach has a way that they want to play and it's like it is plug and play. And this is what we do, and we just keep asking the question. But can you change in game when the environment starts to change?
Yeah.
And I don't think they've really shown that yet.
No, not
And they
yet.
definitely didn't show it in this game. I think it was like plug and play. They put these new players in and everybody adapted really well. But that's almost like all from, not from an offensive point of view, but like that's when the game's on your terms. So I want to see more from them.
Yeah.
When they get tested a bit more.
Absolutely. It was a huge tick though. A result that I wasn't expecting. I tipped them 14th. It's already looking I know it's only early, but it doesn't seem like the team that finishes 14th plays like that.
I think they're too organised. They're just like too good a club now.
Yeah.
That they're not going to let that happen.
Yeah, they're starting to nudge into that territory if they haven't been there for a while. We're getting a little bit of love for Joe Fonte in the chat.
Oh, the Fontempelli.
Yeah.
Yeah. He actually looked really, really smooth and good.
Fontum of Solace.
I actually get vibes of, which is funny because it's not funny. They call Joel Frazier the mini Bond.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like Fonte's trajectory is a little Joel Frazier-like.
Yeah.
The way that you can just sit him off the back of the stoppage. He just kind of carries the ball for you. Super athletic, can step around, use his foot skills. You love him because he's a WA boy.
Well, I've been claiming him as the Perth Demons product like 3 times in a row, and each time I was corrected, it was Claremont. So, no. Hopefully he wants to come play for a 1-win team.
I'm sure he will. Should we kick on here to Sydney and Carlton? We watched this game together.
We sort of have covered it a lot, but we can absolutely talk it through.
Sure.
Yeah, no, it's a strange game in terms of the flow.
Yep.
Ultimately, the result is one that leaves you with, we probably should have seen that coming. But when you watch the game, it was a little bit bamboozling with Carlton, strong-arming Sydney a bit. And at 40 plays 18 in a low-scoring game, it seemed like Carlton had almost got one hand on the game. And then they barely let out a whimper after that.
It's funny. I feel like the result and the outcome of this game is exactly what Carlton always dish up. But I do think there were some little things that they did differently that you can probably, if you're a Carlton fan, you can hold on to hope a little bit that if they can improve it and improve that game plan, they could see some better results in the future. I think the way, and again, Tom was talking about it on the Thursday stream, the offense constantly wanted to lengthen and make the ground really, really big. I love when you just give me those little looks when I say a word. They wanted to lengthen, which meant that when Carlton turned the footy over, they were hurt pretty badly for it. So I think that's where you saw that third quarter. Sydney started to get a foothold in the game. Carlton messed up because they messed up a lot of kicks in the first half as well, but Sydney didn't really punish them for it. In the second half, it just all went on the scoreboard.
Absolutely.
So it was crazy. And you started to get what was it in the first half? Plus 20. At one point, it was plus 27 contested to Carlton.
Can't remember exactly, but you're not far off.
It was enormous. And even the game at the end, it still ended plus 17 to the Blues, even with that third quarter, which was one of the most dominant quarters of football I've ever seen.
Plus 17 is a battering.
It's a battering. Yeah. It's an absolute battering, but it shows you that and this is the limitation, they still don't have those midfielders that when you win, if you win at the source, you don't have those midfielders that can really put it on the scoreboard and get out and hurt the opposition. On the flip side, every time Sydney started to win the ball, and that's what Doherty's talking about when he said as soon as the other team starts to get a foothold in the game, it all goes on the scoreboard and then Carlton capitulate.
There's absolutely no doubt they got in their heads.
Yeah.
Even if you saw just the lack of composure from someone like a Patrick Cripps, giving away free kicks, just the general body language of the team was rattled.
For Patrick Cripps, he's lining up on, say, an Isaac Heaney at stoppage. He literally can't go with him.
No.
So he's going to get him every time. And then you put that with someone, George Hewitt's in there, and he's got Goulden running off him. And then Chad Warner's running off Jagger Smith, who Jagger Smith's got a little bit fast feet, but he doesn't have the explosive power to go with Chad Warner. So I don't know, they're bringing a knife to a gunfight.
That's true. Yeah, I would agree with that. And just a bit of a microcosm, a little bit of the Carlton Football Club over the last few years.
Yeah. So they've changed. They obviously have a bit more of an unpredictable forward line with Charlie Curnow going out of the team, and they've got different avenues to go. Mackay wasn't overly, didn't really scream, I'm going to be a Coleman medalist this year, did he?
No. It was an ugly game. It was ugly ball.
It was.
Even a lot of Sydney's goals were sort of from chains where it was uncontested. I don't know if it was a tall forward tonight, even though Charlie... Yeah. I think Charlie kicked 5? Or kicked 3. Sorry, kicked 3, yeah. I think I don't know what to take of that. And none of their new guys really fired.
From a Carlton perspective?
Yeah, Carlton.
No, I mean, Ainsworth was okay. I think he was one of their better players, and he kicked that really nice goal from outside 50, that one that kind of dribbled through.
Where's that? That's right. I forgot about that. Big Wesley.
Haywood kicked a goal, but I can't say that he was really high end.
No.
It was emblematic. Patrick Cripps is the top centre clearance getter on the ground, but Sydney won centre clearance scoring 20-7.
Absolutely. Carlton also just laid 38 tackles in this game. So as soon as the ball left congestion, they couldn't get there. They wouldn't arresting that momentum at all. Yeah, that was their 6th lowest tackle count in 10 years.
Wow. Because I see them as a pretty good pressure side. But I think this comes back to that game style thing where I think last year they more came at the football a little bit more. So they kept the density really, really tight where they're trying to spread a bit more, which means they can't get back to late pressure because they're further away from the contest.
True. Interesting. We got a message there. Sorry. Josh Loft says, haven't seen a switch in a game like that since the 2021 grand final. It was insane to watch. It's a great shout. It was about the same margin at the time the game switched. It was about 20 points. Yeah.
That is actually so true. I mean, that one looking back, that felt bigger because it was a grand final.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, but that's so true.
It probably, It was bigger because it was a grand final, but the rate of goals was probably similar. I think Melbourne kicked 7 and 7 or something.
That was incredible. Yeah, no, it's so true. And it was Carlton just can't get on top of those. Like when a team starts to get momentum like that, I feel like they're really going to struggle to rein that in. It'll be interesting. Like there's a few teams in the competition that are like that. Like the Dogs are the same. It'll be interesting to see what happens to them in future games as well, if they can kind of get some of that back. Because I think they're another team that's changed a little bit.
Yeah. Well, the Giants were, I would have said, last year. And they've had a good start.
Good start. From a Sydney perspective, I just wanted to talk about MRJ, our man, Malcolm Roses Jr.
Oh, yeah.
He kicked 1 goal and had 2 direct goal assists. I thought he was clean.
Mr. J.
He was sneaky, Mr. J. I think he's going to improve them big time.
Yeah. Yeah, they're probably like looking for that sort of ground level player.
Yeah.
Like there's a bit of a partner for Papley as well. He definitely had a bit of an impact. McInerney as well.
Mac.
Probably career best game.
Career best game.
Got on the end of a few.
I think he's got attributes to go to like a top level player as well if he puts it all together.
Yeah. Wow. McInerney had 145 game day squad points. 145. Clearly a career best game without double checking that.
Yeah. He kicked some big goals.
There's more than Goulden. Not that that's the be all and end all, but
it kind of is though.
Yeah.
It kind of is. A couple of Carlton players in this one, like Elijah Hollands, I thought really struggled in this game with his ball use. He had 12 kicks at 40%. Zach Williams had 10 kicks at 40%, and most of those were in D50.
Yeah. Yeah, dirty night for the Blues. Exposed for foot speed outside the contest, and it seemed to just go bad to worse.
Their next 3 games are Richmond, Melbourne, North Melbourne. What could be the possible fallouts for the Carlton Football Club after these next 3 games? Like, give me what you think will happen, and then give me worst case scenario.
I think most likely they win all 3. Personally, I
think you're probably right.
Melbourne have the firepower.
Melbourne could beat them.
Like Melbourne could beat them. Melbourne have the firepower to like if the game's there to be won, they have match winners, as I've been saying all preseason. Which Richmond and North Melbourne to the not to the same extent.
The only thing that I worry about Carlton coming up against North Melbourne, I reckon we'll fuck them up from centre bounce. We did last year.
Is that what happened last year?
Yeah. And we can do that to teams.
That's true.
And the way that the game looks like it's going, the only thing is like I haven't seen much from Tristan Sherry with under the new rules,
Sure.
like from a positive point of view. So I don't know how effective he's going to be. But if you base it on last year, we don't want to go too early on this one with the Kangaroos, but we could do some damage.
Yeah, we haven't seen the North play in 2026 yet, so a tricky one. But I would still be tipping Carlton. And to be fair. Richmond also beat them last year. Even though I just said they didn't have the same match winners as Melbourne, they did still beat them last year.
They did. That felt more like an outlier. I don't know why I think that, because the fact that Carlton were like 45 points up at half time.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. That's crazy. That's a crazy stat, like how often Carlton are getting mowed down in second halves. So it does make them vulnerable against most teams, to be honest.
It does.
Except West Coast.
What if they lost all 3?
Oh, Voss would probably be gone.
You reckon?
I think it's very unlikely, but at that point, you'd have to be close to sacking the coach if you lost all 3 games.
Caretaker?
Maybe, if he'd be willing. I suppose him getting back into that environment does sort of imply that he'd be willing. But I don't know. I don't necessarily think it'd be a given, Adam Simpson.
I reckon he'd be up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there is still that. I mean, he was at West Coast. I remember like he was never overly keen to go to North Melbourne to coach Adam Simpson. So he obviously like he preferred a big club.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
So he could be seduced.
Was there an opportunity?
I think so. I think there was an opportunity.
I thought Brad Scott was still coach in 2013.
I remember there was a big. I don't know. I could be misremembering. I shouldn't go too much into that speculation zone. We still haven't covered
the last 2 games, Brisbane and the Bulldogs. This was a dramatic win. Arguably, would you say the Bulldogs beating Brisbane was the biggest win?
Do you mean like biggest upset?
I think just the biggest result.
It was the best game.
Yeah, I just mean from the Bulldogs' perspective. Like, was their win of claiming 4 points over the Brisbane Lions at the Gabba bigger than, I'd say
gotcha.
I mean, GWS probably made a big statement, but I think...
No, but I don't think a team needed it like the Western Bulldogs did, because they weren't able to beat top 8 sides. I think that the Giants were the only team in the top 8 that they beat last year, and it was late in the season.
Yeah, and they killed them by 88 points or something.
Yeah.
which was weird.
But I think the manner in which they beat Brisbane here, I think the fact that it was close was better than like a 10-goal win. Because I feel like if the
True.
Dogs just flogged the Lions in this one, everyone would be saying
Brisbane had
Brisbane
enough
made the
night.
grand final, like slow preseason, all that kind of stuff. So this one would have actually given them belief, the fact that Brisbane looked up and about, they were 25 points up and they were able to mentally stay with them. And then like in the end, I think they truly did deserve this win.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. 26 points down. Again, probably echoing what I said about Brisbane's loss to Carlton a few years ago, where they got 8 goals in front and lost.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's any fitness issues, but at the end of the day, the Bulldogs are a very damaging side. So they're not a side that you can give a little bit of a chance to.
The question has always been with the Dogs, like, are they too offensively minded?
Mm-hmm.
Is everybody just trying to get forward of the ball? They're trying to put it on the scoreboard. And that obviously comes against the weaker teams. But when you come up against a Brisbane who have more weapons themselves and can stop you, are they going to struggle? I think this could be. I smell a Bevo redemption. I love that. Do you smell it? It doesn't smell normal.
It's a huge win. I mean, again, still the caveat of its opening round, but at least for me.
Yeah.
But as you said, that was one of the things they couldn't do last year. I think they went 2-9 against the top 8, as I have written in front of me.
Yep.
Very poor record against teams better than them.
Yep.
But to claim these 4 points after being 26 points down, they'll have a lot of belief now. Maybe belief is not what they need. Maybe they need to be the underdogs.
Yeah. But you also, I think like one thing that they really need is a consistent season. Like I don't think you can just continuously be the plucky side that comes from outside the top 4.
Yeah.
I almost think like for them, mentality and belief would come from just like winning a lot of games of football and not thinking that you can always be beaten from any position. Because I think it goes both ways there, right?
True.
Staying in games. The one thing, like they've brought in Daniel Pratt to do their defensive coaching. He was there last year as well. But I think this year he's been given the reins a little bit more and has a little bit more autonomy from what I've heard from people in and around the Western Bulldogs kind of system there.
Interesting.
They gave up in this game to the Brisbane Lions 115 marks across the game, which is a pretty high number. Last year they averaged giving up to the opposition 85 marks per game. Brisbane can do it to you, but when these two teams met last year, Brisbane only still had 86 marks. And the Western Bulldogs were really playing that like heavy forward press game style. It looked like they were protecting their defense a little bit more. I did a review on my channel where the mids and the high forwards and stuff like that, they were really getting back to like help and intercept and do defensive spoils and stuff like that. Guys like Lockie Jakes, Michael Selwood, those guys were there kind of helping. And they used Rory Lobb as more of a lockdown defensive player as opposed to someone floating across.
Yep.
So it looks like they're trying to protect that D50 a little bit more. And it'll probably hurt their offense overall. But I think it could be a good move for them going forward. I think at least they're doing something.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they did still concede 106, which I reckon loses you 98% of AFL games these days.
100%.
That being said, Butterick also had a pretty good performance.
Butterick was great. He was more offensive than I thought he would be.
Yeah, he had 27 touches.
Yeah, 28 actually.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
And a goal.
No, yeah, he was definitely more of an on-the-ball player. And they used like Jakes, Selwood as kind of the more lockdown types. And Karmas was back there as well.
Yep.
But they look good.
Yeah, enormous performance. I thought Bailey Williams might have had a bit of a nomination for goal of the year. I don't know if it'll win, but it was a ripping goal. Yeah. You know,
it's one of those ones where you're just like, oh, come on.
Yeah. Almost like, how did he do it? But Ed Richards as well. Did you say he had 16 score involvements?
16.
That's enormous. 161 game day squad points as well.
So it does help to put it on the scoreboard in game day squad.
Oh, it does. It does. 8 points for a goal.
Yeah, he was ridiculous. The Bont was ridiculous. Libba was pretty good in this game. I'm trying to think of their forward line. I don't think Sam Darcy had a particularly big...
He rucked quite a lot.
Yeah.
It's 7 hit outs.
Didn't have a huge impact. Norton, not so much.
Yeah.
Jones looked pretty good though.
Mm-hmm.
Got concussed. What do you think about those suspensions? There was 3 Brisbane suspensions. Andrews, Gardiner and Zach Bailey.
Yeah, Andrews got 3 weeks. And I think they're challenging Andrews and one of the other two. And I can't remember. I didn't write that part down. But Bailey and Gardiner got 1 week in addition to Hugh McCluggage, who came into the season with a calf concern, played in this game, only scored 22 game day squad points, and is now confirmed out with a calf injury. So a huge, what's the word?
Casualty.
Thank you. That was the word I was looking for. Yeah, a huge list of casualties and important players too.
100%. I mean, they're almost all exceptionally good players.
Yeah.
Maybe you wouldn't say Gardner,
Yeah, that's
but
true.
I think he's important structurally for them. Did you actually catch the?
Nah, not the
you
not
didn't
the
catch
suspensions. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this one, and I understand you're doing this blind, but the Harris Andrews one, like I think that just like has to be a suspension for the careless nature of it. It was like one of those ones where he's going back to block Jones's like run through, and he basically swings an arm and connects with his face and knocks him out. Like, I understand that he didn't do it deliberately, like absolutely deliberately, but you can't accidentally do that. That is what the careless nature is. It's sort of like walking down the street and accidentally killing someone and say, I didn't mean to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like shooting into a crowd and saying, like, I didn't mean to kill anyone.
Yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. You got to be judged on the action, and it's a little bit hard in any legal system to try and impart intent, right? Yeah. So you've got to be a little bit objective about it. Yes. And an arm swinging out. Not that I haven't seen the incident, but an arm swinging out, you're responsible for what happens.
That's what I think. I don't know. I feel like we as AFL fans have a really real difficulty with that, with the deliberate versus careless.
Yeah, yeah. I think we have issues with that in our legal system as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not to go down that tangent, but
that's probably true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good talk.
Yeah.
Saints
True law
versus Collingwood, unless you had any more on the Brisbane game.
No, I don't think so. I think it was, to repeat it, I think probably the biggest statement win. I mean, in different ways. I suppose Gold Coast was a statement as well, but
I agree.
And so was the Giants, but I still think this ranks number one.
I feel like you learnt probably overall, you learnt the most about a side from this win.
Yeah. And probably just the biggest win in terms of like looking at your fixture and going +4 here, +4 there, +4 there. The lines at the Gabba is a huge one for a side that struggled to knock off good teams.
It's enormous. This one, so St Kilda was so up for this game. Like it was like 85,000.
Yeah, it was like the biggest home crowd in a long time, right?
Yeah. And they were really keen. They've obviously made a lot of positive change to their football club with like players coming in. They've spent a lot of money, all of that kind of stuff. So there's finally, I suppose, after a long time, there's expectation on the Saints. How did you think they went with that expectation?
A little bit of all bark, no bite, with all due respect. Great intentions, very little end product from the Saints side. That is an issue you would describe of them.
Yep.
For many years now. Excuse me.
Based Pendlebury was the difference.
Execution let them down. Coming up against a team that is famously good at defending, poor decision making and execution, and just couldn't put any of their good work on the scoreboard. And Collingwood, it was a very professional performance. And once again, we're left to think, how do we doubt them? It has only been an opening round, but still.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not really that surprised.
Saints fans have kind of transitioned into this. Well, like it's opening round. Collingwood are a good team, blah, blah, blah. But they did have Darcy Moore and Jeremy Howe out of that team.
I know.
We've talked about their forward line issues, which it didn't... Collingwood just seemed to be able to rock up to a game and go like, how's this playing out? They just sort of sense what's happening and go, okay, we're going to have to like change the way that we play. They started attacking off D50. Nick Dacos was amazing. If you look at all the numbers in this game from a Collingwood perspective, it was all sort of either midfielders or guys off halfback that were getting all the ball. Dan Houston had a big run. I think he had about 30 touches. Josh Dacos had a lot of the ball.
I think he top scored for anyone in the comp in game day squad.
Dan Houston did.
Josh Dacos.
Oh, Josh Dacos.
171.
Jesus. Houston would have been high too, I reckon.
I actually didn't write down Houston's. I don't have it in front of me. I just got the top two, which were both the Dacos boys.
It was an interesting one. And like it's again that game style that like Ross Lyon teams always leave space in the midfield. So you always get those uncontested marks. And Collingwood had 147 marks for the entire game. So it was a massive number. And it kind of comes back to that thing that I was talking about off the top. Like I think Collingwood did this perfectly, and like the game was very hot. It was intense. St Kilda did come out of the blocks, like you said. They had that. They kind of did have that bite, to be fair. Like they were up for the game. You couldn't have said that they didn't bring enough energy to the contest.
No, I meant more end product when I said that.
100%, 100%. And they didn't. So Collingwood kind of just absorbed all of that and then went like, when we need to, we're just going to chip the ball around.
We're just going to score some goals.
Yeah, we're going to kick a few goals, but we're also going to just like chip it around the back line, do a bit of like prime Barcelona stuff. And they just handled them, didn't they? It was like the bully with the hand out, just like someone's throwing punches at them and then just like, we're cool.
So good by hand as well. Able to get really close opportunities at goal as well. Nick Dacos, 844 metres gained with his 41 disposals.
Was it 800 metres gained?
844.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's big because he can get a lot of meters off the halfback, but playing in the midfield, that's impressive.
Yeah, Josh had 13 marks as well.
Yeah,
probably how he got such a high game day squad score. But yeah, timely a game for this Naz versus Dacos conversation that was bubbling away last week.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'd say Dacos got the chocolates this week.
I think he did. Perryman went to Nasai Wangan Millerer
Yep.
and just pretty much removed him from the game. Like Naz did kick that unbelievable goal. I think that was in the first quarter, wasn't it? It was early on.
I remember it to the left of screen. Can't remember which quarter it was. But yeah, I did 1 goal, 19.
It's funny because there was this like Nasai versus Nick Dacos commentary going on. I think Ken Hinkley kind of started that.
He did.
And there was also like, for some reason, I don't know why, but I think Kane Corns on like Fireball on Friday said that the Yuland brothers are like fighting out for like the best. I don't know. I don't have the verbatim quote, but like he randomly said like they're probably
the best two brothers.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
So you did, because he was really strong on the fact that Nick is a much better player than Naz because Naz hasn't done it yet. You know what I mean? Like he hasn't had the consistency.
Fair.
And then he just threw that one about the Yule brothers out like it was nothing.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Oh, that's funny. Who do you think are the best brothers? You got, to throw some names out, you got the Dakai. That could be number one.
What'd you say?
The Dakai, the plural of Dacos.
Dakai,
yeah.
Fuck me.
I didn't make that up, to be fair. That's the thing. The Ashcrofts come to mind. The Murrays come to mind at Adelaide.
So the Ashcrofts, this one, I remember this one getting brought up a lot last year. Like they're nowhere near the Dacoses.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. That's more of an in-time one. But in terms of established brother combos, the Dacos. Is there anyone else?
I mean, the Kings, but
that's true.
Max is never fit, so...
Yeah.
There will be the Darcys.
The Reeds, Essendon and West Coast.
Yeah, that's definitely... They're in the conversation for sure. Is there anyone else? Are we missing anyone?
Probably.
I feel like
I didn't like write down some prep for this point, but...
Yeah, I feel like we must be. But I mean, you couldn't go past the Dacoses.
Yeah,
it's absolutely them.
Yeah, if one of them is Nick, then... And Josh is a very good player in his own right.
I will even say, like, I remember we brought it up on our last show, the Dacos, Nick Dacos versus Naz thing. And I said, I didn't say that Naz is a better player and has better performances, but I did say I would draft him.
Yeah.
Which I probably still would, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like, Naz is still a freak.
Yeah, I think Dacos' floor is still, like, his worst games are still so good. I mean, to be fair, Naz it's been a while since he's played a stinker, but I think Dacos has been doing it longer. So,
this was the first game that Naz hadn't had 20 touches in 40 games.
Oh, is that right? That's actually crazy.
Naz has been consistent, but I think what will come to Naz, like what he's got to be expecting, is that as the expectation rises on St Kilda, teams will care about them more as a club and they will come to him to try to get there. And you can tell because like they were up for this game. Collingwood knew that they were up for this game. Collingwood wanted to start well, so they send Perryman. He probably hasn't had that. Like in that game last year against Melbourne, for example, Melbourne didn't really give a shit if they beat St Kilda at that point. Like who was St Kilda to them?
Yeah. No, I agree. We've got a few nominations for Chads, for brothers. You got the Warner brothers, the Mackays, the Darcy brothers, the Curtin brothers. A lot of these guys have one good brother, and Sarong also another.
The Sarong brothers. Yeah. I mean, it's Dacos.
Yeah, it's definitely
Dakai.
Dacos, unless there's another obvious one we're missing. The Dakai. We also had a sideline message saying based Pendlebury was the difference in this game. We did talk about Pendlebury quite a bit off the top, but not. I think when we actually moved to this game.
Hang on, sorry, what was the... What
based
was
Pendlebury was the difference.
What does that mean exactly?
I don't know. It seems like a Gen Z thing.
Based means...
I don't know what based means, but I think it's
does
positive.
Does it mean something like fact or something?
Please let us know in the chat.
Yeah,
we're getting incredibly old.
But we talked about it in the lead up to the games, actually. We kind of said, because he played 55% time on ground. He had 26 disposals. He had 5 direct goal assists. Basically, Craig McRae put him on for like the last 7 or so minutes of the quarter and just put him forward. And he just created.
Yeah.
Like he was just handballing. And they asked Ross Lyon after the game, like, were you thinking about doing something about Pendlebury? And he literally had this like sheet of paper in his hand. He was like, Pendlebury, kind of like,
That's a name I haven't heard in years.
yeah. He was like, did he have a good game? And then he's like looking, and he's like, what did he have? He's like 26. He's like, he goes, he had one kick in the first half, but I think he had like 3 or 4 goal assists already at that point, just handballs.
Yeah.
So it was obviously hurting them. So Ross didn't really paint himself in a great light there.
Absolutely. He's a bit of a shit stirrer.
He loves it.
A few people saying base means unapologetically honest. Someone else said it's the opposite of cringe.
That's so it means valid. That's my understanding. I
Right.
said fact, but
Okay.
yeah, valid.
Okay. We got 3 different definitions there. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's helpful.
DeConing Brothers are another good shout out by Joel Falconer.
Oh, that's a yeah.
They're pretty
It's
good.
not them though.
No, it's not them, but that's probably like in terms of established players, they're 2 pretty good players.
Yeah,
Like in terms of evenness as well.
it was obscenely early from Kane Corns after
It was
the.
wild.
It was just absolutely wild. Yeah,
That's what happens when you don't read comments. You're not scared about saying things like that.
yeah, completely true. So, did you have anything else to add on that St Kilda game?
Not really. A bitterly disappointing performance. Disappointing result, I should say, from the Saints fans. Like you can see, obviously, 83,000 in the crowd. Really would have thought they would have won this game. I did tip them.
They had the drum out. They had Nick Riewoldt bashing that drum.
Oh, really?
Like St Kilda. You know what's
I didn't
they've
see
got that the cheer squad at St Kilda. What are they called? Like aisle 49.
I couldn't tell you.
I think it's aisle 49.
Yeah, right.
Christ. Somebody tell me in the comments. But yeah, they had that and they had them like cheering and yeah, it was a big day for them. There has been a little bit of discourse just to finish off with this around Sam Flanders.
Oh,
He was quite underwhelming in this game.
Yeah, did Corns go hard on him? I think he did, yeah.
Yeah, like, and I kind of do, to be fair, like I do get Kane Corns' opinion on this. Like they get McRae, they get Flanders, who are these guys that rack up a lot of the ball, but are they actually going to hurt them or hurt the opposition? They might hurt St Kilda.
No, but it is good to have someone who can get their hands on the footy when you do have other playmakers, and they do.
I suppose the question with Flanders particularly would be that you overpaid a lot for him.
Probably.
So like, is that going to hurt you? Like you can pay, okay, TDK, he's a bit of a unicorn. Naz, you pay whatever Naz needs.
Yes.
But do you do that with Flanders?
You're talking about trade collateral? Because it was pick 6 or 7?
Yeah.
Pick 6, 7.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, from that point of view, yes. But again, you could also make the argument that
When I said paid a lot, I actually meant
the contract.
the contract.
Oh, probably, yeah. It's possible. Depends how much it was front-ended. Like all of these little variables matter because you don't want to still be paying him the maximum amount when St Kilda's list is maturing.
Yeah.
But if they front-ended it, then maybe that works out.
Yeah.
Hard to say. As for the pick 6 part, I do think like that pick 6 or 7, again, going to feel the comments coming, but it's less valuable to a club that's been rebuilding like St Kilda has.
Yeah.
And they've been drafting well. So that pick 6 or 7, I think it was 7, is less valuable than say, if a Richmond or a West Coast or a Melbourne had parted ways with that pick, it probably would have been more questionable. If that makes sense.
It's crazy though, isn't it? Like if you look at those picks, like basically Gold Coast came away. They moved on Buderick and Flanders. That was the only 2 that they lost.
I think so.
And then they brought in Petrarca, Jamaru Ugelhagen, and Zeke Ewland, Dylan Patterson, and the rest of the draft. All like it's like, what is going on?
I know. And then like got 5 academy players and another one.
Yeah, and they held like the one that wanted to leave was Bailey Humphrey, and they held him.
That's
He's
true.
Fucking generational.
I know.
It's like it's crazy.
It is crazy.
They're playing a different game.
I might use the Hong Nam. That is Thai for bathroom. Sorry, I've been so used to saying that.
We do have. I'll let Jesse go to the bathroom. We have 160 on the stream at the moment. I've got a few. Rogi's been very active. Yeah, very active. Saints pre-game was cringe, says Rogue Riot. I actually, to be honest, I didn't see it all. I only saw some of the. I saw like Nick Riewoldt bashing that drum, which did look pretty fucking cringe, to be honest. But yeah, I'm probably with you there, Rogie. Let's be honest. Joel Falconer says Flanders was Oakley Dokley. He was. The official UFL He's good at being. Oh, I've come into a conversation there. Stupid, sexy Flanders, says Rogie. It's why the Suns. I've come into a conversation again there. Where is the? Oh, there we go. Joe Fagan, pick 6 would have been pick 9. Yeah, where did that end up? Because it would have got. The Gold Coast Suns would have actually ended up using it, right? Did they use it as part of the Petrarca deal, or did they actually use it as like draft points to match on Patterson and Hewland? That would be the. So Jesse's yelling out from the bathroom and saying he thinks it was for Petrarca. So that's probably about right, isn't it? Would have been about pick 9. I guess like fundamentally, if the Gold Coast Suns had held the pick, they would have not used it anyway, because it would have had to have gone to those players. But then they might have on track. Like who knows? Who knows where it would have ended up? They lost Roses too. Yeah, good point. I feel like again, it's like with their team and the assets that they've got, like Roses wouldn't have bothered them too much. But yeah, it is a good point. Buderick, Roses, and Flanders. I guess like Flanders would have been the most high pedigree of those guys, but at the same time, like for what the Gold Coast Suns had, their disbursement of talent, like they did not need Flanders at all. They've got like dozens of guys. Oh wait, I've just read something very, very interesting. Thomas Payet, Max Condogiannis is debuting. Is that so? I've got to check that out. That is astonishing if it's true. That's great. Riff says, have you talked about the Eagles' newest rookie? And does Dylan know anything about him? I did see this reported. I don't, unfortunately. I haven't seen him play. So I only know that he's a basketballer.
Yeah, I only read about it and learned about him for the first time like 2 hours ago.
Yep.
It doesn't have much of a profile. And I only saw that we were like looking at him. I didn't actually see we'd signed him. So if we have, that's come in the last couple of hours.
I believe so. We've got some teams in.
Ooh.
We must have some teams. Or do we just know that Condogiannis is...
It's only Tuesday, so it's early for teams. Yeah, I reckon they're just doing their...
They just told him.
Yeah, I think the Eagles are having 6 club debuts. I did see that. So, 6. Or no, as many as 6. So that sort of news is starting to filter through.
We actually didn't mention either. I did talk about Leo Lombard, but he won the Rising Star.
He won the Rising Star. Oh, the nomination. Sorry. Oh, yeah. We probably undersold him.
I'm like, yeah, it's over.
Yeah, we we undersold him maybe as a real red hot favourite.
Sharp is debuting.
Yep, no surprise there.
Hussein El Ashkar is debuting.
Oh, that's great.
The fact that Hussein and Condogiannis are debuting, that's big.
Yeah. That
is bloody big. I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Shows Essendon's list position, or at least their intention is what I mean. We know that they're rebuilding. Dylan's just asked, is Farrow not? They might just be filtering it through one by one for content and engagement purposes. Ainsworth and Rosa, says Joel, well spotted. I did think, as Dylan said that more players left Gold Coast. I did forget about those guys. Good point. Josh Lofts asks, is Doveston debuting this week? I reckon you can lock it in, assuming he's fit. Surely. He had a really strong performance against Collingwood in particular. Thomas Payout says, no Farrow. Yeah, that surprises me. No Farrow. Dylan is outraged on the toilet. Close the door. Mitch Cleary just reported on 7. That's strange. No Jacob Farrow. I'm genuinely surprised by that.
That's a real treat him mean, keep him keen.
Yeah, Dylan said that's a treat him mean, keep him keen type scenario. Yeah, that surprises me a little bit. Interesting. I'm okay, I think. Thank you. Rift says, apparently Sandy Brock just went down at training. Oh dear. I was hoping he would play instead of Young. He's good at rebounding. That's true. I probably would have still gone Tyler Young this week. But still, hopefully he's all right. I've been away this week and I've missed some of the news. And since I got here, I've missed any news that's happened. So that is news to me.
Jesse, I didn't tell you about this, but I did a power rankings.
Cool.
A post round 1.
Are you doing secret power rankings?
Kind of.
Wow.
Yeah,
we talked about this, Dylan. You have an addiction.
I I do have an addiction. I do. Do you want to participate in this with me?
Yeah, absolutely. We do have a super chat. I just want to.
Oh, yeah.
Grimsby says, Dylan, can we get an impersonation of North finishing last and you complaining?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I feel like you see that most weeks, that reaction of North.
We won't finish last.
No.
I'm fairly confident
I
of
wonder who North would draft at pick 1.
that.
Because there's no Cochrane or Walker, presumably.
The one that comes to mind for me, I reckon, would be like Marlon Neocleus.
Oh, yeah.
Someone like
I
that.
remember you
Or
talking about
I mean, it's really difficult this early. Harry Van Haddam is probably up there, but like, yeah, I need to see these guys.
Rabies actually has a good question that's actually somewhat related. It says, assuming West Coast win the spoon this year, do you think there's a good opportunity to manipulate the new likely draft rules again to gain a better hand, considering Cody Walker and Cochrane competing for number 1? So the idea being, it doesn't actually necessarily have to be West Coast. Any team could do that. If you hold pick 1, could you negotiate a trade with one of those clubs? Well,
yeah.
I suppose, what would be the benefit? I suppose, like, say Port Adelaide move into pick 1, they could take another pick, and they might lose Butters, which might make that easier.
Yeah.
But then they ensure that Cochrane they could even bid on Walker at 1 and then trade and then take another player and then push Cochrane down to 3.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
I think it is going to be fascinating because I feel like Carlton have walked. Sorry to sort of change the subject a little bit. I feel like Carlton have walked into the worst situation with this because they finally got some players. Like they got Dean last year.
Yeah.
They get Walker this year. And they almost have to pay full price for them.
Oh, that's true.
In both situations. I feel like they've been a little bit unlucky there.
Yeah, it had to happen to someone.
It had to happen to someone.
Yeah, that's true.
It had to be Carlton.
But I mean, at the same time, the team likely to finish mid-table gets pick 1. So I think they'd, in the long run, be happy with Cody Walker.
Totally.
You'd think. But I agree in general.
Totally. It just means that some of the capital that they were able to produce for Curnow ends up going back into Cody Walker, where they could have just had a free hit if they were like a Suns of years gone by. So it's not as good for them.
Absolutely. Tell me more about these power rankings.
Power rankings. So I did this based on who I think were like the most impressive, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, okay.
So it's basically like a post round 1. And I thought we could maybe do it like each week.
That's cool.
As a bit of a rolling thing.
Yeah.
It might get really boring.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Really?
And I think we could make it like an award.
Oh, I like it. Should I start from the top or the bottom?
Well, tell us what it is first.
So, what do you mean?
Did you tell us what the actual power rankings is?
It's basically like it's a combination of like how impressive the win was, but also I suppose like
talk about teams or players.
Teams.
Ah, okay. This is not where I thought you were going.
Oh, okay.
So I was
sorry.
confused. Sorry.
Yeah. So like a team's power rankings, like a ladder.
Okay.
But based on not purely the ladder.
Yeah.
Based on the impressiveness of
okay.
of the win.
I'm with you.
I'm glad we got all that clarified.
Yeah. I've been a mess today.
So who do you think is going to be number 1?
Impressive win this weekend? Well, in terms of impressiveness.
Competition wide too, remember. So like not just the impressiveness of the win. Like who would you sit above on a power rankings after that week of football?
I would say probably the Gold Coast Suns.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are right.
But there's a little bit of bias there because we know how good we expected them to be. So it's a bit of confirmation bias.
Yeah.
Had, say, St Kilda done that, we probably wouldn't put them number 1.
It just looks though like the Gold Coast Suns have the perfect players to me. I think I said it earlier, but like they have the perfect players for the modern game.
Yeah.
So, and all of those guys performed really, really well.
Yeah.
Like how much was that because Geelong played shit? I don't know, but it was impressive to watch.
That's true.
What they did.
Yeah.
The Humper, Petrarca, Lombard. Excited to see them play West Coast this week.
Yes, that's going to be a great
checks
battle.
notes.
Yeah. We're all going to tune into that one, I'm sure.
That's the Gold Coast too?
Yeah.
That could be fun.
Yeah. Thanks, Dad.
What are you thinking there?
I think if we can get away with anything less than 10 goals, it's a win.
Fuck me, that's grim. Second on my list is the Western Bulldogs for all the things that we spoke of. I just think you got to give that win, put that really high on the impressiveness ranking board, whatever that is.
Yes.
Brisbane Lions, the premiers, and I don't think they came into that game underdone. They felt pretty strong.
Yeah,
the
that's
Brisbane
probably
Lions,
fair.
and it was away from home. So I think good opponent. You put them up there. At 3, I've got the Sydney Swans.
Yeah.
And some people would probably say, why weren't they higher? Because they were pretty impressive, but it was pretty much one quarter.
Yeah.
And I think you have to take into consideration we don't really know where Carlton are at.
That's true. The other two teams were the grand finalists that lost to the other two teams we just ranked higher, if that makes sense. Whereas Carlton coming from like 11th.
Yeah, exactly. I then had the GWS Giants, which was just, I think it was just a huge performance with a lot of players out against the odds against a pretty good team. So they're probably unlucky to be fourth, but I don't know if that win was actually truly indicative of what they're going to be like this year. I'm not convinced.
Yeah, fair.
Collingwood. What do you take from that Collingwood win? Because I don't know if I can actually take that much from that. It was impressive.
You could almost argue, though, that it was more impressive than Sydney.
You could.
Yeah, that's a tricky one.
You could, but
because of the personnel out.
But who do you think is going to be better this season based on that
out
win?
of Sydney and Collingwood?
Yeah.
I've always thought Sydney. So, yeah, if you look at it from that lens, for sure.
Yeah.
But in terms of impressiveness of win, Collingwood's just systematic victory. But then you also apply that to GWS. It gets tricky.
Yeah.
But
I still think I expect more from Sydney. And they fucking smashed Carlton. So you're going to give them some credit for that.
Oh, I expect them to be a better team than Collingwood.
Smell blood in the water.
Yeah.
Brisbane Lions. This is the losing teams now. I went Brisbane Lions. I went St Kilda. I went Geelong, Carlton, Hawthorn at the bottom. I think theirs was the most revealing.
Yeah. Interesting. But I would still expect Hawthorn to be a lot better than Carlton.
Yes.
Yeah. I like it.
Purely on performance, though. I think it was worse than Carlton's.
Really?
It was a worse loss.
Fair. I mean, I suppose from the POV that Carlton probably never would have banked that as a 4-point game. They never would have looked at the fixture and gone, yeah, we'll win that one. Whereas Hawthorn realistically could have.
I think they should have.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely should have. I'm interested to see what people think about that. Oh, people just asking me about draft prospects. Interesting. Okay.
Got 172 in the chat, guys. Thank you for being here. Chuck a like on the stream. Hey, we have a new member.
We do.
Actually, it's not Bradley. It's Brixlixie. Thank you so much.
It feels like it should be Bradley.
That's what my brain did.
That's that brain thing because you don't read vowels.
Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah, you read consonants.
Oh.
So you just automatically, you see the BRDLY and you put it together.
That's interesting. Go.
Sleeping Shadow says Collingwood only won due to the umps. Saints should have gotten a free kick top of the goal square to level the scores. Instead, it goes down the other end and Collingwood get a goal. That's the oldest fallacy in the book, I reckon.
Possibly.
Like, you don't have to let them kick a goal.
Fair.
After a free kick.
That's cool, especially if it's end to end.
Yeah.
But I do get the frustration when that happens to my team.
Yeah.
I do want to actually shout out. Thank you so much, Bradley, for supporting the channel. Really appreciate you, Bradley13. I do want to shout out all the new members this week. This might take a moment. There's like 20 plus.
Go for it.
Connor Papa Cheese, Regan King, Luke S, Michael Spicchia, Bailey Mead, LaFors, Samantha Jane, Keys Co, Hugh Newen, hope I'm saying that correctly, Excessive, Brooklyn Keynes, Logan Costa, Liam Mackay, Curious 1002, Coast to Sammy, Kane Burgess, Matt Boswell, Innovision Music, Jaden, Matthew Delaney, Taylor Brasser, Jacobs, Bushman, who I think is my former co-host on this show. Bushman.
So Busher.
Daniel Busher.
Yeah.
Lachlan Allen and Ravishing Requi. I hope I said that correctly. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and jumping on board. Really appreciate you all. Didn't Saints have double the freeze is the next question.
I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't actually write down the free kick count.
Yeah. I mean, I like, there's not many games I walk away from and I'm like, oh, the umpires fucked that up.
No. It's amazing how much that gets said about the 2016 grand final. Like universally.
Oh, yeah. Was that just the free kick count?
Maybe. I must admit, I was a few beers deep that day and I was just riding the vibes.
I wasn't. I was overseas at that point and I watched it. I don't remember thinking, I was definitely riding the Western Bulldogs wave, which maybe is a factor in that, but I don't actually remember thinking, gee, this has been outrageous.
Yeah.
Facts. Yeah. 11 more free kicks for the game to the Saints, I believe. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that means anything anyway.
No.
But I watched most of that game and it didn't feel like anyone was particularly hard done by.
Absolutely. Should we move on to the game day squad component of this? Let's have a look. Is there an HDMI cable?
There is.
On the ground?
Should be at your feet.
All right, so this next segment, I'm going to take you through my Game Day Squad and just shout out the week winners. We have so many different competitions happening on Game Day Squad. For those unaware, Game Day Squad is a partner of True Footy for season 2026. It's a fantasy platform like no other, where you unpack packs of cards to recruit your players. And we have several competitions here on True Footy. Just want to confirm, yes, we can see. Oh, I'm in the shot this time.
You're in the shot.
Yes.
I made a square for you, Jesse.
Yeah, I like it. Thank you. Perfect. So let's go down to, so for anyone unaware, if you join Game Day Squad, it's completely free, and you use the code TRUE26 at registration, you get extra player packs. I actually might have some packs. Have I got some packs? No, I don't have some packs this week. You can buy more, but you get free ones if you use ours. So I just want to show you the True Footy competition.
Hey.
So in our starter competition, we have Maximum Mastery, Kneel Down, and Kenna Can't Win It.
Just have a look down there at number 9.
Is that you?
That's me.
Oh, Dalal. You've done so well.
Dalal.
Wow, you've done really well. I think I'm like 24th.
Okay.
Where am I? Wait, no, I'm 13th. The Western Stank
Oh, the
Lords.
Stankies.
Yes. Joyce's boys, he's a co-founder of True Footy.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I like it. Well done, everyone. And particularly Maximum Mastery. We've also got all these other competitions. Maximum Mastery is also in the contender competition. In the classic competition, we've got Maximum Mastery again. We've got Arrogant Frogs.
Good name.
Yeah. We've got Challenger. Only a couple people in that competition. I'm not in that one. We got the Champion, which is just Arrogant Frogs. Stats Lab Prime Time.
Arrogant Frogs.
Yeah, Arrogant Frogs. My
Massive
goodness.
score from Arrogant
Under
Frogs.
22s is pretty cool comp.
What is that? Oh, it's just under 22 players.
Yep.
That's great.
Arrogant Frogs in the Fantasy Bros, Mac Frog, and Maximum Mastery again. Oh, and then in the finals. So we got 151 in the competition. If you want to be part of this competition, check out the description of pretty much any video we do. There's an invite code. It is also right there.
Beautiful.
So what you do is you search our name, True Footy, just search True Footy. This will come up to 2026. And you enter the code and you're part of the competition, and make sure you use TRUE26 at registration to get extra player packs. I'll show you my team quickly. This will be my round 1 team. So we get it up there. So because we're doing this show a little bit later, it doesn't show you what they scored during the week, but if you just click on the player, it does. So Naz got 93, a little bit disappointing from a
I'm surprised he actually got that many points because he was pretty well held.
That's true. The goal helps, 8 points.
Yep.
I have changed my team around again. So these aren't all the players I had last week because some of them didn't play. For instance, Zach Merritt I put back into the team, Andy Brayshaw as well. I had McCluggage, who got injured, which sucks. And Dawson's average last year was 129.4, so I got him straight back into my team. What did Dacos score in Game Day Squad? 161, that's right. We did talk about that. So good player to have.
I thought you said that was Josh, though.
No, he got 171.
Josh did.
Josh did.
So Josh got even more.
Yeah, Josh had more. 171.
The better brother.
Yeah. I've gone Gorn back in this week. I think he's too good to not have, but I put him on the bench because Tim English.
I'm not convinced that Gorn is going to have such a good year this year.
Yeah, we've been saying that for a while, but I suppose every year he gets more true because he's older.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose the rule changes make that even more.
I think so.
Of a consideration.
I'm big on the English train and the Grundy train.
But he still gets a lot of touches through intercept marks.
He does.
So
And
I think he's safe.
You see what like a Darcy Cameron did. When was it? The other night, Sunday night. The guy that floats back behind the ball is really important as well. The ruck.
Toby Green playing midfield this year. I got Petrarca in my team, which helps as well. Charlie Curno's on the bench. Jeremy Cameron, I'm not sure if he'll play. I actually don't know the update. So I'll wait to see.
That's a pretty quick turnaround for him.
Yeah.
Not that he played, so it's not a turnaround. But
yeah, that's right. So you beat me in Game Day Squad this week.
I must have.
Well
I
done.
must have. Yeah,
You're
I didn't actually know that, but
you're officially in my bad books, Dylan. So make sure you guys are a part of all the fun. And as I said, go to the description of every video we do, and you will find out how to join.
Love it.
Cool.
It'll be good this week because we actually get to select like the entire complement of players. That was tricky getting some of those guys in for round 0.
100%. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. What do we got next, Dylan?
It's up to you. We can preview round 1, or we can do the top 10. What would you like to do?
Let's do top 10.
Top 10.
Yep.
Top 10. top 10. I'm excited for this one.
I'm excited for all of them, Dylan.
Jesse is going to do and reveal his top 10 AFL players heading in to the 2026 season. Tell us, Jesse, how this is going to work.
I'm going to list my top 10 players of the competition. Do we have a graphic?
We have a graphic.
We have a graphic. Did you get my note that I changed who was 10th?
I forgot to put that in.
Then I will revert back to the original ranking because I was 50-50 on 2 players. Oh, yeah?
No, we can change it. We can change it live then.
Okay, we'll change it live.
I just realised I forgot that.
Yep. So I'm going to rank my top 10 players of the comp. It's kind of in light of all the media like coming out with their top 50s and stuff.
Yep.
I can't be bothered doing a top 50, but I reckon a top 10 is interesting.
Top 50's gross.
Yeah, maybe we can do that one year.
You know, sometimes like there'll be like I know this was big with like the Tim Taranto one, but like someone will say like he's not a top 50 player in the comp, and everyone goes what?
Yeah.
And then you realise like if you actually extrapolate the top 10 out to a top 50, like there's not that many spots.
Yeah, that's true.
It's hard to
There's
get
probably
in the
some
top
old
50.
Australians that don't make the top 50 because they've just had like one outlier season.
Like that Taranto one was the best example of this. I know that I think at one point Kane Corns actually changed that from top 50 to top 150. So then it was starting to get even bigger. But like I don't think Tim Taranto has ever been a top 50 player.
Maybe in like 2019 when he won the best and fairest in a grand final side. But
maybe.
Yeah, I would agree generally. Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty stacked at the top. Even there's some A-grade talent that didn't make my top 10.
Yeah.
So when our producer is ready, I will start from the top. It's actually less intrigue about the top handful.
Yeah, we were going to do one of these each, but we decided against it. I'm going to mention some guys after you've done the top 10 that I think could be there at the end of the episode, and I'm going to quiz you on players that I think are questionable.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to that. All right. My number one player in the competition is still Marcus Bontempelli, which is a big shock. I still think he's number one, to be honest.
I do too.
I think for impact, consistency, dual positionality, I don't think I need to sell people on Bont, but for me, he's just been doing it the longest and as big a game changer as most.
I think he's like, you said it best there, like the fact that he goes forward and hits the scoreboard is and the versatility of him. He could play. You could deploy him as a genuine key position player in the forward half of the ground. If you wanted to, you could probably play him as a distributor at half back. You can play him as a centre bounce mid. He literally can do anything.
Yeah, agreed. I'll move on to Nick Dacos as my number 2. It's close. I think Dacos could possibly be there by the end of the year, depending on how big this year is.
I've seen a lot of these lists, and I think most people did have Dacos ahead of Bont, which I found interesting.
I've always been a Bont guy.
I've been a Bont guy too. I think there is something in the unicorn nature, and I understand now we're talking about Bont again. When we're doing Dacos.
Dacos is also a bit of a unicorn too, to be fair, but
he's just not physiologically though.
No,
he's like a normal sized player, where Bont's like a freak.
Yeah, agreed. I went Isaac Heaney number 3.
Arguably too low.
Who would you have ahead? Oh, Heaney ahead of?
None of them. I would have him at 3. But
okay.
Some of the football that he's played, I would have to say in the last 2 seasons, some of the match-winning performances that he's had, I would say go above what the other 2 have done in the last 2 seasons.
Probably right. I don't know though, because we almost have Dacos fatigue though. Some of his performances are pretty mental.
They are. Has Dacos had games where, like many games where he's kicked like 5 goals and had 30 touches? Like the fact that Heaney can go forward again, win one-on-ones, like he's just a bit of a different threat.
Yeah, I suppose what hurts Isaac's ranking here is probably over those, maybe over the last 3 or 4, he dropped away a little bit. So for me, there's a little bit of a power ranking element to it where like the consistency of those top 2 guys put them top
I think
2.
He's been like, since he's gone into the midfield full time, he had, like, to be fair, he's been pretty consistent. I think like a Dacos, it's hard to not remove the fact that Dacos has won a premiership in that time as well.
Yeah.
And I know Bont hasn't. Heaney made that grand final and then they had a pretty poor performance in the grand final. I think that some of that stuff's hard to remove from your brain when you see it.
Yeah, possibly.
I do agree with you though. Bont and Dacos have both been more consistent for longer than Heaney.
Yeah. Jeremy Cameron, number 4.
This one, I'm not sure I agree with.
He was a runaway Coleman medalist.
Yeah.
And has been so damn good for such a long time.
He has.
And almost unique as a key forward in this competition with the way he gets up the ground and impacts in multiple ways and the longevity.
Yep.
I think he's clearly the next best for me.
My question would be, if you were building a new team right now, would you genuinely, and like it was to play a game right now, today, would you genuinely pick him right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we need more context.
Sorry,
need more context.
Like, would you pick him as the fifth, like you're doing a fourth best player?
Well, I mean,
Like, for example, like, you know, Nas isn't here so far. Like, would you pick him over someone like a Nasiah for a one-off game tomorrow?
I think so.
Would you? Well, then it's fair.
I think he's so much better than the other key. Well, the gap between him and the other
Yeah.
key forwards as well, I think is still right there right now. I think he's earned that. I do have Nas in 5.
Okay.
So with Nas, I suppose what he doesn't have over those guys is the same longevity, albeit, as you said, like 40 games since he had last had less than 20 touches. Some of that, I reckon, was off the halfback flank.
It was.
But even still, like he's a bloody consistent player, a match winner, and I don't think I need to sell them on Nas. I think there may be some that think he should be lower.
Because he hasn't done it for long enough.
Yeah. But I'm not sure if I agree with that. I think he has been playing at a really high standard for a long time. And when he was playing half-back, he was like the number 1 rated kick in the league as well. Yeah. So like he wasn't just your average halfback flanker. So for me, Nas comes in at 5. I've gone Zach Butters 6.
Ooh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, big fan. Can really lift his team and so ferocious and a genuine match winner. But I went for the talent of Nas over him.
Okay. I'll let you reveal more and then we'll talk about some of the...
Okay. Yep, we can do it that way. Then I went a little bit more potential and talent versus actual production, and I went Sam Darcy.
Okay.
Again, maybe blending or blurring lines a little bit in terms of my criteria here. But in terms of the talent and the guy you want in your team when the game's there to be won, Darcy has to make this list. He just doesn't have the resume of some of these other guys.
I still think you have to do it based on, like I said, like who would you pick tomorrow if there was a game? And I still think you would have to consider him really strongly.
Absolutely. I do have a bit of a bias and a bit of a tie break, I suppose, for guys who have been doing it longer, right? Rather than the new shiny thing. And Sam Darcy is more in the new shiny thing category. But on raw talent, he's clearly in the top 10 players of the competition.
He's a freak. He's so dangerous.
I went Noah Anderson at number 8. Again, don't need to sell you too much on this. He's just been an outstanding midfielder for a few years now, and you still get the sense his best football is ahead of him. Not that that really comes into it right now, but yeah, a star playmaker. And then I went a little bit different for this one. I'm still a huge fan of Max Gawn. And like the career he's had, and he still had like an outstanding season last year, if I'm remembering that correctly. And such a difference maker for his team. And I've seen him win games for the Melbourne Football Club when he hasn't had a lot around him. And he's doing it from a position that isn't really respected as being one that wins you games. And yet he has done it for such a long period of time. And again, we get a little bit of Max Gawn fatigue. He's been good for so long. But for me, I think the fact that he impacts so much for that position ranks him really highly for me. Also extremely decorated as a player.
Extremely.
Then number 10. This is the one I changed last minute. I originally had Harris Andrews in there. Again, longevity, reigning All-Australian key back. But I don't know if the graphic will be correct. But I'll say Sam Taylor from the Giants.
Sammy T.
He's the best key back in the competition and has had some issues with his body. But I think when I thought about it, I was like, who's actually better? I think Sam Taylor is the number 1 key back.
So can I reveal who you had?
Yeah.
Who would be number 11, I assume?
Well, was it, are you going to say Harris Andrews? I did just say that.
Yeah, Harris Andrews.
Oh, yeah.
So it's basically it's that sort of number 1 key position defender in the game.
Yeah. That, again, doesn't get a lot of kudos that as a position. Backs, but
never.
I think Sam Taylor genuinely is that impactful.
He is.
So
he's extremely competitive.
Yeah.
The tricky one with those two is like Harris Andrews, and he's got that extra bit of height, which makes him, like I was watching him that game against the Dogs, and like those arms are just freakishly long.
Yeah.
Like they go up and they just mark everything. So it's tricky. It is tricky. I think in a way, I think Taylor's more competitive. I think Harris Andrews probably reads the game a bit better. takes a few more intercept marks and things like that. But it's a good list. It's a good list with Sam Taylor rounding it out.
What would you change?
What was the thinking with Zach Butters ahead of Noah Anderson?
I think he's a sexier player.
Butters,
Yeah.
more sexually attractive. Or?
Some of that is also longevity.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's been patches where Butters has missed football and we kind of almost forget. But I still rank him that highly. I think he's a bit more ferocious and it takes the game by the scruff of a neck. I'm not saying Noah doesn't do that, but I think he's just done it a little bit better to date.
I would agree that Butters has done it for slightly longer than Noah, because Noah really only, I'd say, officially broke out last year.
Yeah.
Where it was like he went to that top level, where I feel like Butters has done it for a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
So I think that's fair. You got Darcy in there on potential, and I think that's totally fair as well.
Yeah, blurred some lines with the criteria here.
Yeah. I don't know. With Max Gawn, obviously you're right about all the decoration and how consistent he's been and how good he's been for a long time. I'm not sure how comfortable I am with a ruck being in there at all.
Really?
In the top 10.
Max Gawn, though.
It is Max Gawn, but there's a lot of other players
There
that
is
I'm about to talk about.
Absolutely.
There are guys that could be coming for this list. So the next guys that I'm going to speak about are not top 10 players, but they're players that either could be returning to form and finding it again, or they could be younger players who haven't really been talked about in that same caliber, but are coming for that spot, let's say. So the first one is Ed Richards.
Yeah, he was the next name I had, other than Harris Andrews.
I reckon this guy's been criminally underrated
Yeah.
Since 2025, because again, he moved into the midfield, had a proper breakout that year. But nobody talked about him. When the Brownlow medal came around, no one was speaking about him. They were speaking about Finn Callaghan. Bailey Smith was kind of in the mix, and then your usual suspects, Noah Anderson, Dacos. But for some reason, no one was talking about how good Ed Richards was. And he was a top 3 player in the competition from a champion data ranking point of view. He's such a damaging player with his leg speed to get from inside to out, to hit the scoreboard as well. He's a marking threat. What is he, 188 centimetres? So he's a bit of that unicorn size as well. And he just moves so well. He's perfectly set up for the modern game.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that. He was the next name, but I decided to go skew key position for the last couple.
The next one I had was Zach Bailey. I just think when you go back to, he's probably one of those guys and plays a position where people think that there's still an inconsistency about him. But is he actually inconsistent? He plays well every game. He does his job every game. He doesn't get 30 touches necessarily, but he can have 15 touches and have 7 shots at goal. Like the grand final last year, what did he have? He kicked 2 goals, 5 or something.
That's right, yeah.
It was something
That's
ridiculous like that. So he's just so dangerous around goal. And like I said with those Gold Coast Suns players, he's the perfect, he can explode, he can remove a defensive line, and then everyone's coming at him and he just gives teammates, gets them into the game. So he's super damaging. And you can understand why it was Essendon, wasn't it, that came super hard for him to try to get him to sign a contract.
Yeah, it was.
Yep. Bailey Humphrey.
Bit early.
Could be coming for the top 10 though. Could he not?
I reckon there's a list of players that we can maybe push to the back that I was going to say could make this list with a huge season.
If they have a big season.
More not because they're 12th, 13th, and 14th, but because they have the talent within them. And I think Bailey Humphrey is probably closer to that group rather than being that close on what he's delivered so far.
That's fair. I think that's fair. Too early.
Too early. But possibly inevitable.
Rogie says, I doubt I'd consider him for top 25. Zach Bailey. No.
I was a little surprised by that one.
Zach Bailey?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Probably in the top 20, I'd say.
He's a gun.
Yeah. He is.
Sleeping Shadow said 3-6 for Bailey in the grand final. I think I'm confusing that with Isaac Heaney's game against Carlton, who had 2-5 the previous season, and I had that in my head for some reason. Cozzy Pickett.
Yeah, he's very close to the top 10 as well.
Yeah, and I think for him, for me anyway, it's kind of the same. I mean, it's the same conversation. It's just that type of player. They're so dynamic and so damaging, and he started to go into centre bounce, and it just changes things in there for the Ds. So I think he has to be in consideration. If he has a big year from a goal kicking, probably if he gets a little bit more volume, I feel like that'll kind of put him up in people's mind. And it will come down to how good Melbourne are.
True.
So that's another factor. I did put Finn Callaghan in there. Very similar player to Ed
Oh,
Richards.
yeah. I actually sort of overlooked him. I don't think I would have put him in the top 10, but he should be close.
He really broke out last year. I think he became a top player, and I think he will be. If Clayton Oliver can get him enough ball, he'll be super dangerous for the Giants. I put Petrarca as like a comeback.
Fair.
Like a
I actually
comeback.
Excluded him, and I shouldn't have. He could be there.
Can you
I don't think I could
do that? Can you come back into the top 10?
Yeah. Especially when you have the circumstances with him as well.
Yeah.
Like he was an outstanding player before his horrific injury.
Yeah.
So I think he can. Absolutely.
Okay.
On his day, he's probably closer to the top 4 or 5.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. And if he'll be very motivated by the fact that he's playing in such a young, talented side.
Yeah.
I think that'll take him to another level. He'll smell another premiership, I reckon. Errol Goulden.
Yeah, so he's one that I said that he can threaten the list with a huge 2026. I don't think on talent he's that far away, but he also missed some footy. And like he's still a damn good player, but he's one
Really?
I thought like just coming off the injury ravaged year, I didn't slot him into my 10. But
Really?
I expect he could be there by the end of the year.
He'd have to be in a different category though than Bailey Humphrey.
Agreed. Yeah, he's
Like,
definitely
he's
done
got-
more.
he's done
today.
more.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Chad?
Not a top 10 player.
No.
Damn good though.
He's pretty dynamic.
Yeah.
Jeez, they've got a
absolutely.
good midfield.
They do.
Sydney.
Yeah.
Far
They
out.
do. I wouldn't put him ahead of Cozzy Pickett, who I also didn't have. I also wouldn't put him ahead of Gordon.
Okay, fair enough. The others I had on the list, just to throw a few names. Sam Walsh, a return to form.
I could see that happening.
I don't, to
Certainly
be
not
honest,
close
I
now.
don't think Sam Walsh is top 10 quality
No.
in the competition, but he could be kind of in that.
No, he'd need to put in a very consistent year, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not going to be one of those 4 and 35 type like Naz games.
No.
He's the sort of guy who would need to do it week in and week
He's
out.
just very important to a specific team
Yeah.
and gives them something a little bit different.
Yeah.
I also had Max Holmes as just a sneaky one. I'm not sure if he goes to quite that level,
Yeah.
but he's an important player.
Yeah.
Got a lot of attributes as well. And Nick Watson, just for a different position.
Ooh,
Could he go
be
top 10?
cool. Not this year, surely.
You don't like those small forwards as much, do you?
Yeah, no, I'm coming around to that, but I still think Nick Watson's a fair way off compared to some of the other guys that also missed out, right?
Especially when you got Jacob Newton up there.
Yeah, that's right. If we were to see a shift, I'll throw some other names who I think
Okay.
could be in this list.
I like
I
this.
didn't include Matt Rowell. Like with another year of that quality, he could really start nudging that top 10.
See, I don't think Matt Rowell could ever be considered a top 10 player.
I did a little bit of prep for this, and I did look at some top 50s, and they were quite diverse, and some of them had like Rowell at 4.
Did they?
Yeah, or at least one did. Yeah.
Who was it?
I cannot remember for the life of me. I just dismissed it, and I was like, I'm not putting Rowell at 4.
Interesting.
I think,
Oh, someone said Dawson. I forgot about Dawson.
yeah.
That's a good shout.
Good shout. I think there's a couple of players both at Adelaide that are not Jordan Dawson that have the talent, but at the end of 2026, we could see them very close to this list.
Can I guess?
Yes.
Isaac Rankin.
Yes.
And there's another one.
Yes.
I suppose it would have to be... Or it could be Dan Curtin.
I was thinking Thilthorpe.
Oh, Thilthorpe.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Like I predicted him to win the Coleman.
The other one I was going to say was Rochelle, but I was like, that's not
Yeah,
really your
it's too
style.
too much of a reach.
Yeah.
I think. But Rankin, yes.
Yep.
Rankin's probably not that far off it, to be honest.
No, Rankin's a gun.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Thilthorpe. Yeah, I think Thilthorpe's that's a fair call. I forgot
And
about him.
this one would be not my prediction, but I would have to not exclude Will Ashcroft,
Yep.
particularly if he has another big final series,
Yeah.
right? Like you start to really stack that form in big games, and like he may not be consistent enough compared to a Rowell to win a Brownlow,
Yeah.
but if he does it again,
Do you feel like with Will Ashcroft, like I had this, like he had such a good grand final again, and you start to go, I'm like, is he that damaging? Is he that damaging? And then he has this unbelievable final series, and I go like, fuck, like you just have to accept that he is. And then you come around to the start of the season again, and like I was watching him in that Western Bulldogs game, and I'm like, he's not doing like he's,
right? Yeah.
you know, he's just sort of like, and then I'm watching him, I'm like, what's so good about him? And I feel like I'm on this rotisserie constantly of like going through that with Will Ashcroft,
like a chicken.
like a chicken.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I know what you mean, but I do think that if we're talking about him in September as being player of the finals, then you're like, it's undeniable. He's a top 10 player of the comp.
Totally. Jaden Griffin just says, lads, if you have 50 players in the top 10, then it's not really a top 10 anymore. These aren't all players in the top 10.
No, that was my top 10. We're just debating some other names.
Yeah,
That's
we did a top 10 and we just talked about who could potentially. That is the top 10 there on the screen right now. That's Jesse's. Sorry, that is Jesse's top 10.
I won't tarnish you with the Max Scorn call.
No, like it's fair enough. I mean, it's subjective.
Yeah,
it's subjective, right? And like how much you put on, like I guess that performance piece, like the legacy piece versus like who you think. Like I kept asking you, would you pick them in a team tomorrow? That's a question that you go through. I think like sometimes I probably look to the future a lot with some of those picks.
And I tend to skew a little back.
You go back.
Like I reward longevity.
Yeah.
And I haven't been completely consistent with that, but like you'll see that's why Jeremy Cameron ranks so highly. I mean, he also just won the Coleman.
I think, I think the two, like Jeremy Cameron and Max would probably be lower on my list.
Yeah, gotcha.
But would be like, I'd put him in like all-time lists. Because I rate Jeremy Cameron super highly.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if I'd have him that high in a top 10 list for 2026.
Yeah, fair.
Would be my call. So that is it. That is the top 10. That is Jesse's top 10 list. Now, did you have anything else you wanted to share in between that, Jesse?
I can't recall, but you are saying that as though I've forgotten something.
No,
Okay.
I wasn't meaning that at all.
No,
I was just double checking.
Yeah.
Did you want to preview round one?
Yeah, we can do.
You keen for that?
Yeah.
There is a big game on Thursday night.
We'll just ignore the last one.
We will ignore the last one. Nobody wants to hear about that. I mean, there's a few people just talking about some other players in there. Harley becomes a top 30 player in the comp this year. Do you think he could?
I actually forgot about Harley. Yeah, I think he could. I think so much though depends how much support he gets. I don't think anyone can do that if you're playing a lone hand.
I reckon a reasonable comparison there is like Bailey Humphrey, who's been in the system a couple more years. The only the difference there is like we've just kind of seen what Bailey Humphrey did in a real AFL game, which was incredible. So that's like fresh in my mind, and I'm going, he's got the quality to be that. So does Harley,
but he's got the quality out the field.
Harley?
No, no, Bailey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like he's playing in a better team.
Yes.
So he can sit at half forward and bag four, but Harley's gonna struggle to do that.
He was playing out of the goal square at times and like hitting up at the footy and stuff.
Yeah,
Humphrey, so
which I think the plan is for that with Harley, but I think he's gonna spend a lot of time just chatting.
I suppose what I'm saying is they're the same player, kind of like they're built the same.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's difficult for Harley Reid to show that when he has to. Yeah. He can't really just wait for delivery.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a big if.
Yeah.
But I do think on talent, he's not that far off.
Rogie says Sheasel Ball could be there.
Yeah, maybe. Does he take a stride this year?
I don't know.
I feel like the next evolution for him is as a forward. Or like, not primarily, but like.
I think that's what he has to do to take his game to it. Like, he can't, he's going to get more of the football than he does now. So he's just got to be better touches in more dangerous positions, I would say.
Exactly right.
I think he's I think his ceiling is like something like a Scott Pendlebury type. That's the sort of player I feel he is.
Yeah. I like that.
Michael Spicchia, 8933. Spicchia, yeah, it's probably better. Players like Zach Bailey are elevated due to the team. He isn't near top 20 if he plays for North, West Coast. There's some truth in that. I agree. Like if he played for a bottom side,
he wouldn't see much of the footy.
But I don't think that matters because like you're trying to win a premiership, right? And you need those players. That's what takes you from an average team to a really, really top end team. You need those kind of players. So I don't think you can judge them on that.
Yeah, it's a tough one though, because you'd imagine he'd be getting uglier ball and worse looks at it. So he wouldn't be able to showcase that talent.
Yeah, 100%.
And so then it's almost like discriminated against because of position. Whereas if he's a halfback flanker, like a Jack Sinclair has done it for years at St Kilda, and if you dropped him into North or West Coast, he'd still be just about as good. I just plucked a random halfback flanker there, but
I get your point.
Yeah, he'd still get his 30, 35.
Yeah.
So as it does Sheasel, right? Not that he's a halfback flanker anymore, but just an example.
Yeah. I just think some of those guys like Bailey and who's another good example? I mean, even at times probably Petrarca has been that type of player where they're not as high volume, but they're very damaging. And that's what that's what makes the team great
Yeah,
because of the influence that they have. So
absolutely.
that's probably where I'm going with that. Please tell me you guys have talked about the Connor McDonald and Dylan Moore news. Oh, God.
Have you seen it?
No.
I saw it in the chat that they were apparently arrested overseas. But I'm
Really?
guessing that they both played, right?
They did.
So I don't know what that story is, to be honest.
Interesting.
Oh, it was just posted by Mitch Cleary. I think Rogie said that, actually.
Wow. Hawks pair spent night in US jail after foolish trespassing incident. Okay.
Weird time for
Hawthorn's
a break.
Dylan Moore and Connor McDonald were arrested for trespassing during an overseas trip late last year, with Moore describing the incident as a foolish mistake. I can't read for some reason. The pair spent a night in jail in Phoenix, Arizona, and still have a pending court date.
Wow. There was also a charge of drug paraphernalia at the time, but that charge was dismissed. So they thought they saw a bong, but evidently they didn't.
What?
That's what it
That's what
says.
it says.
A charge of drug paraphernalia. Well, that can only really be a
Wow.
bong, right?
The 26-year-old Moore had been in Phoenix for preseason training and admitted that a drunken decision to climb onto a scissor lift led to police taking him into custody. This is a quote from him. I was in the US. I was out having a few drinks and made a foolish mistake. Decided to get on a scissor lift, and the next thing I know, the cops are telling me to get off.
It doesn't feel like a big deal to me, but it's interesting they still have a court hearing. Like, what, do they have to fly back to the US to go to court? That's
Yeah,
interesting.
what the hell? Like, for that. Where were they? Were they in like a army military base or something?
Or the local Home Depot.
Or a local Home Depot? You know what I mean? Like, where were they?
Oh, someone said, actually, I won't read the quote, but yeah, someone clarified what it might have been. Yeah, gotcha.
So it wasn't the location. It was the paraphernalia.
Yes. Yeah, interesting.
Very,
Weird timing for that story to break.
very weird. They would have known all about that,
Yeah,
presumably.
surely.
Yeah. Okay. Preview for round 1 of the 2026 season. This is where it all takes place. This is it, Jesse.
Yes.
Every single team,
No
not
team
just the
left
good
behind.
ones.
Yeah,
Exactly.
not just the good ones. Now, we're involved.
We are. We're starting to get involved. There becomes more jeopardy, more anticipation, but also...
Rogie just said he had his vice captaincy stripped.
Did he?
Yeah, that's pretty large.
What, just now?
Yeah, I presume so. If that story just broke, or maybe it happened before, but now it's been reported. I presume.
Surely Hawthorn didn't just find out about it, though.
Nah, I doubt it.
When did he have his vice captaincy stripped?
I presume today, at least publicly.
Wow. Someone said probably just jumped a fence, not a big story. But yeah, that's like you don't generally get a court date for just the trespassing alone,
Yeah,
right?
that's a weird one.
So there's obviously something a little bit more involved than that. Very interesting. Very interesting. I'm going to go back to preview for round 1.
Please do.
Carlton versus Richmond at the MCG on Thursday night. This is a rematch of one of the most astonishing performances and outcomes from last year, with Richmond beating the Blues. I think if Carlton lose this game, it's pretty much all over. Like, the internet will just... it'll eat itself.
Think of Lower Broad's views.
I know. It's actually what I was thinking about. I'm like, it'll be fucking bedlam.
Yeah.
Like, there'll be people, shirtless people. Like,
Yeah, I mean, even the Sydney one, they got
that was
confused
bad,
out
and
of
they
that.
expected to lose that game.
Yeah, true.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen, Jesse?
I can't imagine Carlton lose this one, personally. I think there will be, I mean, it's going to be a massive atmosphere. There's going to be a lot of narrative spoken about internally at Carlton, I think. They're going to want to redeem themselves. I was going to say they need to get out to a good start, but evidently that wasn't enough last time.
That won't help them.
Yeah. I mean, Richmond will also use that game as fuel. They'll have belief.
They'll think that they can pinch one.
Yeah. But pound for pound, I still don't think Carlton should lose this game, and I don't think they let it happen again.
I completely agree. So I think the difference between Carlton playing at Richmond, that dominance that they had in the first half around the ball, will inevitably end up on the scoreboard a little bit more.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think there would be a world where like Richmond at some point in the game are going to get a foothold and they're going to get some momentum. Like they've still got some decent elder statesmen in their team. Like you got Taranto and Hopper around the ball. You've got like a Jack Ross who's pretty experienced and the defense is pretty good.
Prestia.
Presti is
If
in
he's
there.
fit, if he's playing.
Is he playing?
Oh, the teams haven't come out yet.
Is he still? He's not serving something from that Stephen May thing?
I don't think so.
Okay, it might not be. You got Noel Bolter back, so like Richmond have got a relatively experienced, but I think most of their talent and high end players are still very, very young.
Sorry, Prestia was actually just injured for both practice games, so there'd be some doubt, but I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, I don't think he's like altering the result of this game.
No, we went too long on the Prestia point.
But yeah, like Carlton just have to win this game. Like
Yeah.
I just trust that they have to win this game.
Yeah, I would agree.
So we're going Richmond then.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel pretty confident that Carlton will
Me
win
too.
this one. Yeah.
I do too. What does everybody think in the chat? I'm actually fascinated to know. Fan cams go harder after a loss, says Rogie. They sure do.
Yeah, I'm thinking of bringing them in for True Eagle, to be honest. Not sure what to expect.
Be fun
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah, well, the games are on so late, yeah. Well,
That's true.
in general, in Melbourne. But
Sunday afternoons.
yeah, well, the game ends at like 9.
Yeah. I saw after the Sydney game, like Blue Broad was still on, I reckon, like after 12.
Yeah, I don't know how Terry does it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an animal. Respect
He
the
really
man.
is.
Maybe somewhere down the track I'll start doing them when we win.
Yeah.
So maybe in a couple of years.
What do you think about Essendon versus Hawthorn at the MCG on Friday night?
A narrative clash. Two not traditional rivals, but historical rivals.
When did that rivalry start?
I don't know. They played in grand finals in the 80s.
They
Or a
did.
grand final in the 80s.
Didn't
at
it
least.
sort of start up again when Hawthorn was shit in the early 2000s?
There's this line in the sand game from
Line in
about
the
2004.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a big call. And then there was the Matthew Lloyd, Brad Sewell incident where Lloyd sniped him.
Yeah,
quote.
that was where he got was that where he got the velvet sledgehammer or was that before that?
Oh, I can't remember. Then there was a Sam Mitchell injection thing. Remember
Oh,
he
shit,
symboled that to the
yes.
players, so that would have been like 10 years after
These
that.
two teams fucking hate each other.
Yeah. And then the merit thing. So there's just so much narrative.
So much
And then the
narrative.
D'Ambrosio thing.
What's the D'Ambrosio?
Well, D'Ambrosio left Essendon to go to Hawthorn.
Yeah, no one cares
I was
about
being
that.
facetious.
yeah.
Essendon fans might, but
Well, they weren't playing him.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, he's a much better player at Hawthorn anyway.
Yeah,
But,
absolutely.
no, plenty of spice in this one, but two teams at completely different ends of the premiership spectrum, as it were.
What do you reckon the Hawthorn players will be doing around the Zach Merritt thing?
That's a
On
good
field.
question. Do you get stuck into Zach? Probably not.
I reckon you do.
But Zach wanted to go, and like maybe they come play for him next year. I suppose on the day he's an opponent though.
He's an opponent.
Yeah.
Get in his head. Like,
Oh, Weddle stuff too. Somebody pointed out. Essendon made a big play
because
for
they made a
Weddle.
big play for him
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And Essendon clearly go into this side quite young. Its team.
Conda Giannis, Dyson Sharp. The same.
Ashka. Yeah.
So I assume Kako's out.
Yeah,
He
presumably.
had the injury.
Yeah.
The interesting thing when these two teams played last season was that Essendon absolutely smashed them in the midfield. The clearances were outrageous. The inside 50s are outrageous, but
Wow.
Hawthorn just counterpunched them.
When was this? Sorry, this game?
Early
Last year?
I think it was round 1.
Okay.
I think they
Yeah.
played round 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Essendon probably do, like from a pure clearance perspective, I reckon Essendon probably do have a better midfield.
Mm.
Like you got your Cordwells, your Durhams, Parrish is in there. Like they're good clearance winners.
Yes.
Again,
And
it's like
Sharp on debut probably still gets a few.
Sharp on debut. It's going to be that Carlton thing again, though. It's like, what can they actually do with that dominance?
Yeah.
Blackiston's going to be in the ruck, so that's going to be a bit of a different look, which may be difficult for Hawthorn.
Yeah.
But I do worry about that midfield for Hawthorn. Like Meek and that midfield. Like Meek's lost an edge too, I feel, given the ruck rules. So
Yeah.
there's an in for Essendon, but you would suggest that a combination of the way that Hawthorn move the ball and the back six of Hawthorn just stand up.
Yeah. Yeah. They got so many players who can damage you as well. That didn't really fire against the Giants, like a Dylan Moore. I think they have too much class for Essendon, but I feel like Essendon do start seasons as well. Like I'm expecting a bright Essendon start.
They'll be up and about.
But I'll be surprised if they win. It'll be a big boil over. Imagine Hawthorn going 0-2
Be huge.
and losing to Essendon as well, who with all due respect, are clearly rebuilding.
Why does it smell of an ambush? Am I just getting sucked into the narrative?
Maybe. Yeah. No, I feel like these games are actually not bad between these two sides.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of that.
It was because we streamed it at the beginning of last year, and it was like Essendon weren't smashed. It was like Hawthorn held them there and were able to kind of just continue to counterpunch from the back half, but Essendon were on top.
Yeah. Sorry, Gilesy said 3 straight grand finals in the 80s, all one-sided. Hawthorn won the first, Essendon won the next 2. Interesting. Wasn't one of them 86? And it was like the biggest three-quarter time comeback was about 4 goals. I reckon that would have been
Probably.
86. Yeah.
Hawthorn won
sure.
tons of premierships in the 80s.
Yeah, they won 5, I think.
Yeah.
And then 91.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game, that one. I'll definitely be tuning in for that one.
Yeah, have some spice.
I'm going Hawthorn, though.
Yeah. You'd be a brave man to tip Essendon, but yeah.
And speaking of narratives, we have Western Bulldogs versus the Giants at Marvel Stadium in the prime time slot of 1:45, whatever it is.
Yeah.
What time is that game?
I don't have it written down either.
I didn't actually write it down.
Yeah, Marvel
But-
Stadium.
Just the worst slot ever, where you kind of like you wake up on a Saturday, like you sleep in, and then all of a sudden the game's just punching you in the face, and you're like, you want to chill, eat your breakfast or lunch or whatever it is, and that game's coming around.
Yeah. I think it could be a great game.
So
Two sides that performed very strongly in opening round.
hate each other.
Yes, a bit of that narrative. And genuine firepower.
Yeah.
And I feel silly saying that. I talked down the Giants all preseason. But, I mean, they just scored 122 against Hawthorn. Jake Stringer. Did we even mention Stringer?
We didn't really.
We didn't, yeah. 5
Contract
goals.
year.
Yeah, exactly.
Contract Stringer.
Yeah. There's spice to this. Bearing in mind, the last time I met, I've mentioned it like 3 times on this stream, the Bulldogs beat them by like 88 points.
Yeah. They were like one of the as we said, the few teams that the Dogs actually beat from that top 8 section.
Yeah.
I don't know about this one. Do you think there's extra spice because of the history, or do you think these two teams are at that point where they just don't care?
I think the playing list has turned over a fair bit. There's a few.
It's
like
the
Liberatore.
Toby Green versus Bond.
Yeah, that's true.
Because didn't he get suspended for pulling Bond's hair?
Yeah, something like that. I think. Yes, he did. Yeah. That's true. I mean, those two
Have
guys.
you watched the Amazon Prime thing?
No, I haven't. I've
Yeah.
seen a lot of promo for it.
Yeah, they spoke about that on there. AFL is a war without weapons.
Yeah, I've heard that ad so many times. That's 5. It's a war without weapons. Yeah, look, I just think these two sides are very talented, and I feel like it's silly because I just talked down the Giants, but I don't think I've doubted their talent. I just think I've had issues with the way their team's structured up. But having seen opening round, we have to give them a chance.
The most Western Bulldogs thing of the last few years would be to come out and beat Brisbane at the Gabba and then lose this fucking layup at Marvel Stadium.
Was the only were the only finalists they beat last year?
I think so.
Yeah.
You said that they were 2-8 against top 8.
2-9, I think.
2-9.
Yeah.
Was it both times against the Giants? It
I
probably
can't
was.
remember off the top of my head. It's possible.
I think it probably was.
Yeah.
So they like him.
Yeah, I reckon they might have beaten them away at like Monaco or Sydney.
I think so.
I can't remember.
The Dogs have to win this.
Yeah. Yeah, there's probably more pressure on the Bulldogs to win this game to back up.
Definitely.
And I expect they will, but I'm not that confident. I have just like undersold GWS this whole year so far.
You know what I'm like slightly concerned about thinking about the teams lining up on paper. I'm going, okay, Rory Lobb did really well last week against Brisbane, who are a great offensive team in general, but I would say the players that he was playing on specifically aren't necessarily the most dangerous key position forwards. He's going to have Jesse Hogan this week. He's going to be just way, way, way stronger and harder to push off the ball for Rory Lobb.
That's true.
And I think the Giants last week against the Hawks took like something like 15 marks inside 50. Like they're just such a good team at delivering the ball to those guys. That scares me.
Yeah. I think what is true for one is kind of true of the other. Both teams have weaknesses of defending transition, or at least did last year.
And those momentums, like halting the momentum of the opposition.
Which is part of an ingredient for an otherwise evenly rated game being nearly 100 points last year. It's because the Giants had an off day and just could not stop them.
Yep.
So I think we can expect anything. I wouldn't be surprised to see huge lead or momentum swings in this game.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a battering either way.
You could open the app at it'd be 2:30, and one of the teams is 6
goals
6
in front.
goals up, 6 goals to none.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I could easily see that.
And
So,
and they might not win.
so all this bullshit that we've just been talking,
Yeah.
what does it make you want to do?
I'm going to go home side, the Bulldogs.
Yeah, me too. Weak
I mean, both of them.
as piss.
Yeah, but both of them had really strong opening rounds. I've rated the Bulldogs higher all preseason. I think there's a lot of stank about this game in terms of getting the tip right, but I will tip the Bulldogs.
Yeah, we're not getting this right.
Yeah.
So just tip someone and just accept that it's going to be wrong.
Yeah.
That's what I...
The suppressing the Bulldogs midfield, as Finn McNeil points out, the midfield is a huge mismatch. That is true on talent. The Bulldogs
favour
should,
of the Dogs.
Yeah, the Bulldogs should get them there.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of whether they can make those opportunities turn into scores from that source,
That's correct.
which they were very good at doing last year.
That's correct. I feel like when you come up against the Bulldogs, and this is what teams get really good at with them, is they know that, they accept it, and then they just go into conservation mode,
Yeah.
and then they just attack them off the half back. And Giants probably have the best players in the comp for that.
True.
Ash and Whitfield and
Yeah.
Fontempelli.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go the Dogs
Mm-hmm.
with no confidence.
Yes. Agreed.
This is an interesting game.
Yeah.
Geelong versus Freo at GMHBA. I again assume Saturday afternoon.
Yep.
I want to say for this game, I didn't write the times down. Now, Freo lost this game last year. I think it was round 1,
It was.
and it was like 70 plus points.
It was a weird game though. So the Cats got out to like a 70-point lead, and Fremantle hemmed it back to like 15, and Murphy Reid kicked 4 in a row on debut.
In that run to get them back to 15.
And then Geelong pushed it back out to 70. It was
Wow.
one of the weirdest games.
Freo was so flaky early last season.
Yeah, that one was probably the worst performance, I'd say.
Or
of
the St
year.
Kilda one. They lost to St
Oh
Kilda.
yeah,
by
no,
like-
you're right. That takes the cake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was
Just-
more uncompetitive. At least in this game, they had periods of dominance.
So I tipped. I have a feeling that Freo could outperform Geelong. I think I tipped Geelong to finish higher on the ladder by like 1 position.
Okay.
But there's a world where Freo finish above Geelong for me, for sure, and particularly what we saw in the first round. What I find really difficult with the Cats is to see them losing 2 games in a row. They just don't very often do that,
No,
particularly coming back to GMHBA. Do they just handle Freo here?
I don't know.
Oh, you're just saying that.
I don't
though.
know. Fremantle have a good record at this ground, relatively speaking.
Do they?
Yeah. I don't actually have the. To be fair, that's probably going back, pushing into a different era.
Yeah.
No, they beat the Cats there a couple of years ago. That being said, I
Okay.
think that's the year the Cats missed the finals. I reckon it was 23.
23.
Let us know in the chat if I'm wrong.
After the
After
flag.
premiership, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. Like, whether I think it'll say a lot about Freo of whether they've like matured enough to come up against a team like Geelong, who are
Yeah.
really experienced. Because I think Geelong will come out of this game like a caged animal
Yeah.
because they don't like losing 2 in a row.
Yeah.
They're calm, and I think like the way that Chris Scott spoke about the defeat last week, he's not going to overreact to it, but they'll want to win. They don't want to lose 2 games in
They
a row.
just looked very shoddy in opening round.
Yeah.
And it's not that I think that is the be all and end all, but in terms of prep for round 1, like, can they turn around their skills in particular?
Do we have a timeline on Danger Cameron?
Not in front of me.
Good.
But those would be big ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, particularly if you want to play like a caged animal,
Yeah.
Dangerfield,
Oh, yeah.
unleash him, unload him out of the cannon.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Dockers,
Wow.
but in a real...
You just give me shit for implying that the Fremantle Dockers might win this game. You're like, oh, of course you are. And then you're like, I'm going Fremantle.
I just noticed a little pattern with you with the Dockers. There's a level of...
I'm being consistent with my predictions.
You're protecting yourself against what could be.
No, I
as a
think-
West Coast fan.
I think they travel well to certain grounds. I think they're particularly weak at Marvel, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm.
But the GMHBA is not unwinnable territory for Fremantle. And I do think last year's form was a weird game that I wouldn't extrapolate on in terms of their form against Geelong. I do think overall Geelong generally beats them, but they generally beat most teams, don't they?
They do.
Except GWS, I think. But
Yeah.
I like this one, actually. But again, like Danger and Cameron in, I'm going Geelong.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the status is on it.
I think that's what I'm saying though. Like, I think if Freo do win this game, that's where you start to take them seriously.
Yeah, you'd have to.
Like, this would be a
Yeah.
big road chip win for
Yeah.
them to start a season and give them confidence.
That being said, they have been claiming big away wins for the last number of years, and it hasn't always eventuated in top 4. It has never actually
Yeah.
with this group. Like they beat Collingwood at the G last year. They've beaten the Cats recently. They beat the Swans
Yeah.
away. Like there is a number of those throughout the year.
It'd be good to bank one early though and take the pressure off their home form.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't say it's not a good win.
You're like, I think it could actually be better if they lose it.
Yeah. No, look, I'll tip Geelong.
Geelong.
I'll tip Geelong.
It's funny we went the opposite way.
I know, yeah.
Crazy.
That's funny.
Sydney and the Brisbane Lions, a bit of a state of origin. New South Wales versus Queensland going
That's
on.
true, yeah. 2024 grand final rematch.
2024 grand final rematch. The Demons, the Swans, last time these two teams played, knocked off the Lions late in the season, which almost cost Brisbane a top 4 spot.
Yeah.
Sydney, nothing to play for. Sydney are a really hard read coming in off that opening round game. Really hard read because they dispatched of Carlton when they needed to, but we really don't know where Carlton are overall. And their first half was deplorable.
It was. I do wonder if they were just rusty, you know? Like we'd expect them to lose contested ball and clearance to a side like Carlton and for it to ultimately not matter. And
Say that again, sorry.
I think Sydney, we would expect them to lose contested ball and clearance to a side like that.
Overall.
But where they burn you is a transition and their outside game.
Yep.
But on a night where it was opening round of the season, the skills went up to par, is that the outlier? They couldn't score.
Yeah.
So I suppose you could say they'll be exposed if that happens again against a better side in the Brisbane Lions. But I kind of think had they just been a little bit tidier in the first half, they probably would have won the game by more.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's easy to say that in hindsight, but
It is.
so I guess I don't know if that's a systematic problem with Sydney.
Yeah, I don't feel like they have a systematic problem, but they do seem to have these like concentration issues
Yeah.
that
Okay.
have probably been there under Dean Cox. I feel like he had a win obviously against Carlton, but it would be handy for him to have like a kind of season-defining win against a big dog because we don't really know that of Carlton yet.
Yeah.
So they don't really get that for that performance.
No.
1-1, they're still fine. I don't think like the fallout for this game would be significant. I suppose it would be for Brisbane, 0-2, but they've started seasons like that too. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Swinging wildly in my head between these two teams. I really rate Sydney and they're so damaging. But I do have a sense that the Lions will be pissed about last week. But when this happened to them in 2024 and Carlton eroded an 8-goal lead to win, they still went 2-5. So in that case, it was a case of, bad conditioning and not being prepared for the season. I really don't know about this one. Could be a grand final preview. I think it was your grand final prediction.
It was. I think they are coming into the season at least the two strongest teams on paper.
Yeah, with the
As-
Gold Coast Suns, I'd say.
Yeah.
On
Only the
paper.
main difference there for me I would actually say the Gold Coast Suns have more talent, but I would say that
Yeah.
Sydney are more in the hitting zone,
Yeah, yep. Whatever that means. I think I get your point.
in the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Of, like players in their prime, like 27, 28.
Jingo Rhythm points out a very good point. There's a lot of outs for the Lions. So we talked about them earlier in the show.
Yes.
Harris Andrews, Zach Bailey, Darcy Gardner, and Hugh McCluggage.
It's huge.
Yeah, they do have the depth though.
They do have the depth. I mean, I assume like Will Ashcroft just gets more midfield minutes.
Yeah.
Lockie Neal was really good.
Oh,
round.
yeah, he was. He deserved a mention, actually.
Yeah. Levi Ashcroft will go in. I reckon Dan Annable would smell a debut.
Yeah. I'm going to go the Swans.
I'm going to go the Swans too.
Yeah. I think the decisive point was the outs for me. Like you take out McCluggage, Harris Andrews, and Bailey. They could still win. They're good enough to. They'll find a way, but I'll tip the Swans.
Swannies.
Given they beat them last year, it helps as well.
65 points.
9 points.
9 points, yeah, better. 17 for me. Collingwood versus Adelaide. These two teams are starting to develop a little modern rivalry. I
Had
feel.
some really close games as well.
Yep, Collingwood knocked them out of, well, not specifically knocked them out of the finals, but they beat them in the. It was a big game, that qualifying final,
Yeah.
to go to Adelaide and knock them out like that. Collingwood is still probably going to have some outs for this game. Will Adelaide be too fresh, too strong coming into round one?
Sometimes that's an advantage, sometimes it's not. They also have some personnel issues. They've had an injury interrupt their preseason, the Crows.
Yep.
And I don't know exactly where a lot of those sit. We know that Phil Thorpe was held out of Pracky games, but I think he'll be available. We know Isaac Rankin won't because he got suspended in the home and away game between these two sides. So I think he's still out for round 1. And I think he also did a hammy. So that's a big out.
My recollection of watching games between these two teams over the last few years is that Adelaide have often been the better side,
Yeah.
but just haven't had the nous to win it.
Yeah.
So again, kind of like I said about the Freo Geelong situation, I feel like if Adelaide are to win this game, it'll be a step in the right direction
Totally.
to overcome a foe. But do I trust them? I don't think so.
Rankin swings my tip here,
He's out.
actually. Yeah, I think so. I think that Isaac Rankin in, I would tip the Crows, but I think he's...
Stop saying tip.
I would predict the Crows. I think that's a decisive one for me. We know that Collingwood also have personnel issues, but there's such a hard system to break down, and I reckon that gets so much tougher if you don't have Isaac Rankin.
Yeah, true. True.
Do they have an answer for Thilthorpe?
Not if
Because
Darcy...
Security didn't have a Thilthorpe.
No. And not if Darcy Moore and Jeremy Howe are out again. You got Frampton.
Yeah.
Like Frampton's going to... Because Frampton will have to go to Thilthorpe, and then you'll have Fogarty and Tex and whoever else they play. Because like what you've seen over the preseason in this early part of the season for Collingwood is like they've got Maynard and Quaynor are playing on like they're playing as like pseudo talls.
Yeah.
So that's not going to work against Adelaide.
No.
But I don't know the fitness of those guys. They could be back.
Yeah, that's true. I'm actually not sure as we record this before the teams are out. Electro Boy says all of them are back except for Hinge, Curtin and Keane. So I presume Rankin is still out though because he's suspended.
So Rogie reckons Moore's back in.
Okay.
That helps.
It does help.
I think I'm going to go Crows.
Yeah?
I think I'm going to go Crows.
I think I'm going to go to the Pies. I doubted them in the opening round. I do think the Crows will be tougher than the Saints, though.
Yeah.
Particularly with Thilthorpe, given the Saints didn't have like a tall target like of that quality.
No. I just love the way that Darcy Cameron gets back, though. You know, you talk about those tall defenders. He just gets back and takes so many intercept marks.
Yeah.
And then they go again. Houston looked good. Yeah, Collingwood.
Yeah, Collingwood?
Collingwood.
I've swayed you. Oh, we have a potentially match of the round coming up this weekend with North Melbourne hosting Port Adelaide Football Club at Marvel Stadium on a Sunday morning, presumably, or afternoon.
This is big.
What are your instincts?
You know what? Like, I was really upset, disappointed about the preseason, and now the closer we get to the beginning of the season, I'm starting to forget. I'm starting to forget about
it's like when you give birth.
I just think we're going to kill some sides out of the middle.
Yeah, I think you're going to slaughter them.
Could we? I mean, it's tricky with Port Adelaide because they've got Butters and Horn Francis and Rosie. No, we'll lose this game. I think we'll lose this game. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. We'll be close though.
Yeah, I think there's too much midfield talent at Port though. I do agree that you'll probably win like stoppage numbers, but like a Butters, for instance, and Rosie, I think it's too much class.
I think Sherry will smack up. I don't know who they're running for this game, Vicentini or Jordan Sweet.
I think it was Vicentini in the preseason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Sherry will have too much of an issue handling them. But the midfield's an issue, the speed out of there, and Georgiades.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't like that.
They're a good team, Port Adelaide still, I think.
They're good players.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're a good team.
That's fair.
Yeah.
In my head, I was blurring those two things.
Yeah.
No, of course, they struggled last year, but there's enough good players there. I'm going to tip Port Adelaide as well.
Port Adelaide at Marvel. Should I tip North? Maybe I'll tip North. I'm going to tip North.
Okay. Is that a loyalty tip?
No.
Maybe I'll tip West Coast.
Maybe. I'm going to tip North.
No.
What's everybody thinking? Look at that hope.
We do
Someone
play each other in round 2 though, Dylan.
Could we be 2-0?
No.
Okay.
You'll win this one and then lose the next.
Yes, probably. I'm going to tip us to
that
beat
would
Port.
be very North. You're going to tip North Melbourne.
Yeah, I'll be angry if they lose now. Though.
I'll say Port by 21.
I can protect myself with negativity. Melbourne and St Kilda is next, and it is the rebirth of the NAS game.
Yes, as it were. Yeah, return to the scene of the crime where Melbourne lets slip.
No, it's not. That was at Marvel.
Oh, true. Yeah, I was thinking the teams, but you're right. It wasn't Marvel.
Yep.
Melbourne let slip the biggest 3/4 time lead the game has ever seen.
Crazy.
To lose. So, two teams going in opposite directions in terms of postseason stuff. Petrarca, Oliver leave the Melbourne Football Club. They regenerate with draft picks. St Kilda do the distinctly opposite thing and invest in established players.
Yep.
St Kilda should be the more fancy team, but Melbourne still have some star quality. Max Gawn, Cozzy Pickett, amongst others.
There's so many teams coming off their first game where you're like, I don't think it was overly concerning that they lost to Collingwood. It was disappointing because of all of the fanfare and the new players. They have to win this game, the Saints. They can't go 0-2 against a Melbourne team.
Yeah, that opening round game was a tough test of their new style. Or at least, they're not necessarily reinvigorating the game plan, but they've got new players, new personnel.
Yep.
It would look different. And Collingwood are such a hard team to break down systematically. So that was a really tough
It was a tough
audition.
opponent.
Yeah.
And they did it, in fairness to them, they had like 65 inside 50s.
Yeah.
So they were able to generate looks, but they weren't good enough ultimately.
Yeah. I think that Melbourne won't be as organised, but
Definitely not.
I think I'm going to safely tip St Kilda here. I say that. I mean, last year they should never have been 8 goals down in that game in the first place.
What a funny feeling about Melbourne this year.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
know you do. I'm a little bit worried about that, only because I've predicted them to finish third last, I think. Yeah, third last.
Yeah. I think I've got to go St Kilda.
Yeah.
I've got to give them that trust. But I am concerned. This is the Jack Steele revival game against his old team.
Yeah.
Just picturing
Yeah,
that.
Jack's
but like,
revival game. A rebirth.
what
as
am I
it were.
shitting about? Jesus.
Yeah, stop shitting, man.
Oh.
I think, obviously that we haven't come to trust this St Kilda group yet, but I think I'm going to tip with my head here.
Saints?
The Saints should win.
I think I'm going to go the Saints as well. I agree with you. And now
I can't wait to analyse this.
for the what's that word you say? Pasta resistance or something?
Pista resistance.
Pista resistance.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Sorry. Gold Coast versus West Coast at Metricon.
Yep, could be a grand final preview.
It
Maybe
could
a
be.
wild card weekend preview.
It could be a wild card preview round. I'm glad this game's hidden on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
So that most people will never have to watch it.
Yeah, me too. I hope people don't watch.
Is there any chance?
No.
Okay.
No.
So there's just nothing.
Nah.
No.
I'm not even somebody who's extrapolating the preseason that much. It's just it just wouldn't make any sense.
I mean, they were that good.
Yeah. The only the alternate universe where something crazy happens is just that Gold Coast have an off day and they can't get past halfway because we, at times last year, showed an ability to be hard to break down.
It just sounds so funny that you've gone from no, we've got no chance, but Gold Coast just might not be able to get the ball past.
No, I'm saying in the crazy alternate universe,
I know.
that's what it would look like. That's just what it would look like.
Like we're so good that they can't get it past halfway.
No, for periods of games last year, particularly against the top four, like West Coast was really, really challenged a lot of the top four last year through being difficult to get to move the ball through. So obviously in the preseason, we didn't see anything resembling that. But in that scenario, we intercept and our forwards have a good day and theirs don't. But I'm giving that virtually 0% chance.
What were your margins against them last year, approximately?
I think we played them once and we lost by 14 goals, and that was in round 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's not good.
The previous time we played them, we'd beaten them, and that was only like 5 games before that because it was at late.
Once you
previous
start
season.
going too far back against the
totally.
Suns, though, it
Yeah.
starts to get not relevant.
And there's so many players in that 24 game that aren't going to be playing in this game. So no, it's not something you can extrapolate. But I was just more speaking to how disappointing that round 1 game was because we had just knocked them off. So you add in tough conditions potentially in Queensland,
Yeah.
which may play to our favour, but I'd imagine not that much.
Starcevic?
Back in round 3.
Ugh. Who else is out?
Jeez. I think there's some doubt about Harry Edwards,
Okay.
but he should be back because it was concussion protocols.
Would he
Baker's suspended.
Would he get Ben King? Baker's
yeah,
out.
He would. Baker's suspended, yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it's not going to make any difference.
It's not going to help, though.
No, it's not going to help.
Jesus. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
10 goals?
I think I'd be pretty happy with a 10-goal loss.
You just hope it's not super
I think I could nudge 90. And if it nudges 90, it might as well go to 100.
Fuck, that's grim.
Yeah.
That is so
This
grim.
is a
All right,
one-sider.
they are our tips. So how did we go in the end? Oh, both went Carlton. We both went Hawthorn. We both went Western Bulldogs. Then we split Geelong and Freo. I went Freo, you went the
I went
Cats.
the Cats.
We both went Sydney. I went Collingwood. Did you go Collingwood?
Yeah.
I went North, you went Port.
Oh, that's right.
I went Saints, you went Saints.
And you went West Coast.
And I went
Gold
West Coast and you went Gold Coast. Not. You can clip that up.
Yeah.
Perfect pause. Perfect pause.
Oh.
I love it.
144 in the chat. Thank you for being here, guys. Really appreciate you here on this Tuesday night. We will be back on Mondays.
We will be back on
next
Mondays.
Monday. I will miss the following Monday, but I think Dylan has plans to replace me. And hopefully you don't do so well that I never come back.
We have a fill-in. We have a sub. Lewis, West Ham United, ex-West Coast Eagles. Thank you very much for the super chat. Hopefully Gold Coast have pity on us and we lose by 50 points.
Could happen. That would be exciting.
Oh, it's going to be... I reckon Max King will kick 10. Not Ben King, sorry.
Yeah, not even playing. Yeah, he could do. Could do. I don't know. I actually think like if it's a slippery game, then it's more likely the medium players will get on top.
True.
So
True. Petrarca.
yeah, they'll just bomb it from 60.
He could kick 10.
Yeah, Petrarca could get 10. I'll give you that.
Oh, God. There's actually an injury list that's just popped up on my computer here. Medical room.
Oh, it is Tuesday, of course.
Yes. Yeah, Keane, Hinge, Curtin, Rankin the suspension.
Yep.
Phil
Yeah,
Thorpe.
yeah.
Phil Thorpe's a test.
Yeah, he missed the preseason games, but I think he's expected to play. I think Jinby's also a test for us and Hoff. So there's a few names the West Coast don't want out.
Hang on. So Harris Andrews' estimated return from suspension is round 5. Is that because they got a bye
Yeah, they would do.
in between?
Yeah.
Okay. Bailey round 3. Carlton still got Chera out. Cottrell, Francis Evans. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. What are you saying, Jesse?
Should we wrap up?
Wrap up?
Yep, we've done a good 3-hour stint just about.
Cheeky 3.
Yeah,
Another-
just a tick under 3, I reckon.
Another 3 in the bank.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you all very much for being with us today on this beautiful Tuesday after we had a lovely long weekend.
We did.
Monday, what time are we going with on Monday?
It's kind of more your call than mine. You're the host.
Go 5?
We can do 5. Yeah,
We'll talk it through.
we'll talk it through. Yeah,
We'll talk it through. But early call to go 5.
yeah.
Thank you all for being with us and we will see you in the next one.
Go.